Hi there.
Hi, Diana, again.
Hi again. Hi, Patricia again. Come on in, come on in.
Will you be able to eat, Diana? I was so hungry.
I'm still finishing the last little half of my pot stickers. Hi, Vera. Sorry, I'm eating.
Well, don't be sorry, enjoy it.
I'm supposed to finish the Photoshop class at 12:45, but then I answer questions and I think I know it's 1, and then I go and check in on my kids, and next thing I know it's 10 minutes to class, and I'm like, trying to eat something.
You're so dedicated.
Yeah, so it's my son finished his last day of high school yesterday, and guess what he greeted me with this morning? I'm so bored. Like, wait a minute, you're complaining about going to school every day, and now this is boring. How funny. But anyway, so right now he decided to get over his boredom by sleeping. He went to his brother's room, and I just discovered he's sleeping. So yeah, that's the way to get over the boredom for a little bit. So welcome everyone. Welcome.
I thought you were going to Argentina, Diana, like last year.
I am still planning. I'm not sure if it'll happen, but it's summer 2 is in July that I go.
Oh, okay.
So I'm trying to work things out. So, but not yet. So yeah, so if you guys take any of my summer 2 classes, I might be teaching them from Argentina like I did last year.
And it's going to be winter in there.
And I'm always like 85 scarves. Whenever you see me, you guys are all boiling hot, and I'm like hot and everything. Yes, the opposite. Okay, so head over to the chat. I'm seeing only one person signing in, so everyone go to the chat and give a little hey ho. Welcome, welcome. Nice to see you guys. I also want to remind you all to get going with having your applications ready to go. And I request that if you are on VDI, make sure to have your Google Drive as a clean sign in so that the files are not corrupted. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I can give you a hand, but by now, hopefully, I keep sending you the videos and the links and all that kind of stuff, but there's still some people during the week that are asking me questions. And so I know I want to try to support you as much as possible to get on board. We have a new member today. Hi, Linda. She's in my Photoshop class.
Hello.
So did you get a chance to watch anything at all during the mini break that we had? Not really, right? Probably.
Heck no. But I will.
So anyway, she's in my Photoshop class and she's liking it so much she wants to learn more. So she's joining us today. So I'll do my best to not cater only to Linda, but I also want you to have a little bit of an idea where we are, okay? But for the most part, you'll have to catch up by watching the recordings. And then when you watch this recording, you'll kind of be in a good spot to continue. Next time we meet, okay? I want to share the Padlet that you guys are working on, because this is your Padlet. In part, this class has only put right now the Padlet of the work that we did last week, for the most part. But then some of you guys, so thank you for those of you who posted. You remember that's something you have to do, post the things that you did last week. But then some of you went ahead and did some more work. And now and then I make a comment, now and then I don't. It's not so much, but if you ask me a question, like for example, Megan here, she did this really cool work where she was playing around and making some wave shapes and commented her paths are pretty rough. Can we smooth the edges? So definitely I'll be working on how to work with edges in class. So this is a great place to put in your examples. As I said, good, medium, or bad. It's also a place to ask me the things that you want to know more about. And unless there's something that's complete out of the scope of what I'm going to teach, then I'll try to always make sure to build it in to what we're going to do. If it's completely out of scope of what we're going to teach, I might tell you, hey, hang out during break and I'll show you a little bit of what you're asking or something like that. But there's a quick answer to this, by the way. So I'm going to just open it up. And so here are the waves that, by the way, you might have noticed that in small, they look great. What are you talking about? What do you mean rough? They look great. But when you open them up, then you can see what she's talking about, that they're not like really flowy waves, which in some things doesn't matter. But in a wave, probably of all things, a curve should be, flowy and straight and not rough. The first answer I have to this is the least amount of anchors, the smoother your curves, right? So if you have anchor, 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 then it's a bit of a jaggedy kind of shape. Versus if you click here and then click there, and that's one whole curve, you get a curve just like you have right here, which is a pretty good one. But as soon as you have anchor, 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 I'm not even seeing them, but I can tell this is where the little anchors are. So grab your mouse with the minus thing and start deleting, deleting, deleting all the extra anchors, and then trying to work with those handles, that curve, to take that shape. So you can make, a whole big curve with only 2 anchor points and a perfect shape of a curve. You'll have a smooth curve versus when you have many little points. So when we keep working on making shapes, I'll show you more about that, okay? But that's usually the main thing to do. The least amount of anchors that you can possibly make are going to make the smoothest curve available. All right. So, and remember how I showed you to go and delete anchors? When you first delete them, suddenly you might get an anchor that goes from here to here, and you go, and your wave is going to be this, weird straight line because you got rid of the existing anchors. But then you grab the little handles, you pull them out, and you reform that wave. So we're going to go ahead and work a little bit more on creating our shapes. And then what I challenge you to do is, after you learn a bit more, to go back to that same exercise, copy it. So you have the rough ones, and then copy it again. And we're going to learn more about copying right now, and then try to fix it and then see the progress as it goes, and then as you learn more, copy it one more time and then progress. And by the time you're done, you'll have this beautiful little wave, and you'll see your progression through the waves. Okay. All right. Cutie pie little dino there, Mason, thank you. And then I just want to really make a point that Vera was kind of
Lost.
lost at the beginning, right? And so instead of just sitting there being lost and going, I don't understand anything, and leaving the class, she started posting. And 5 days ago, she posted that we did in class. Then if you look over here, 4 days ago, she went ahead and said, oh, look, I'm learning this. And then she posted again 2 days ago, oh, look at the flower I'm working with, which is something we did, last class. And then some more questions. I'm learning how to do the palettes. And then again, 14 hours ago. So all I'm saying is, this is awesome, because you're the one who's you're progressing, you're practicing, you're learning, you're having questions, you're going, oh, I didn't know about color palettes. So that's the way to go. If you feel like you don't want to post these because they're like, oh, it's too basic, then you're losing out on me seeing how you're moving forward and progressing, and knowing where maybe I can direct you in your stopping points. Okay, so yay, Vera, thank you so much.
Deanna,
posting
the
on that.
third one over does have the box, the weird box I was complaining about. I didn't know what to make of it. So if you
this one. Okay, I see that. So so she had a question here on this one that I answered, but I wasn't sure. She says that she was saving in VDI and had a window that she didn't know what to do with. So I said, please post it. But I had looked at it on my phone, and when it opened, I hadn't noticed that. So you're right, there is that box. So this is when you're saving a file, in between saying save and then closing, this one pops up always, which just says, do you want to close and save in this version or not? This is just you basically saying, do you want to make this compatible with this version of Illustrator or with an older version of Illustrator? So 99% of the times you just say okay and keep moving, unless you're going to give this file to someone who has an older version of the program. So say that you're going to give it to, I don't know, client X, who has never moved on from Illustrator CS6. So then you have to click on this little guy and choose the old version, and then say okay and save it in an old version to give to them. But otherwise, for the most part, you're always going to just say okay and keep going to save to the newest version. Now, some of you are in my digital design techniques class, right? And this actually happened to me the other day, that in InDesign, I had saved a file in my own computer where I have InDesign 2021 or 2022, I don't know. And I had put it in the files to give as class files. And when people on VDI tried to open it, they couldn't. Why? Because VDI is still working on Illustrator and InDesign 2020, and mine had been saved in a version that's a little bit newer, right? So then it's not workable. So I had to go back in, I had to resave my InDesign to an older version and put it in so that people in VDI can open it. If you are at home, you do have the latest version because Creative Cloud keeps you updated. Does that make sense? So you can't open a newer file with an older version. So you need to, at this point, save as an older version. Then you say, okay, and then that's the file that you hand to people with an older version. Did that make sense, Vera? So this will pop up every single time that you save a file. And since you got stopped by this file because you didn't say okay, you didn't move on. Had you said okay, and now you know you can say okay to it, then it saves and then you're done. That's the process. It's just that this little thing pops up in the middle when you need it.
Okay, thanks.
Some other times you might want to make some other choices about your process of saving. I would recommend. So there's one more choice here that I'll show you when we actually do it ourselves. It says save the artboard to a separate file. So I'm going to show you about that. There's some other options here that might be useful sometimes. But for the most part, this one you just kind of say okay and continue as an automatic. So continuing, okay. All right. So whoops. Did I create this? No, this is the one that you had a question. I don't know how you discuss. Okay. All right. Oh, and I see something just appeared. So we'll just create it. Let me see. I hadn't seen that one yet. Okay. So you're working on a logo for, you said Mixteco God, Mixteco Indigena Community Organizing Project. So as an English and Spanish speaker that I am, are you sure that's Mixteco Indigena community or indigenous since you're saying it in English? Or Comunidad Indígena would be in Spanish.
Comunidad indígena.
Sí, but in English, wouldn't it be Mixteco Indigenous community? Because you have it in English here.
Yeah, I know I have it.
So I'm just saying as a Mixteco Indígena and then community organizing project. So I don't know if it's just the way you want it or if it's a.
I didn't notice until now, but
Yeah.
that's how I come out. I'm sorry.
Just as I'm bilingual and I'm I worked as I put myself through school being a translator. And in fact, one of my Photoshop students only talks to me in Spanish, just so you know, and anyone who's here in that situation is welcome to do that too. But but anyway, guys, look at this beyond that, which was just a comment on vocabulary that just jumped out at me. Look at this, you guys. Look at all the work he's got going here. Now, you haven't yet learned about this, but he has a lot of different layers. And I want to say, Saul, I don't have your file here, but the way you're using layers here isn't necessarily how we traditionally use layers in Illustrator. Using layers here a bit more like how we use them in Photoshop, where each element is its own layer. But I mean, it's not bad, but it causes a whole bunch of layers. I'm going to teach you the opposite of this. So just so you know what I'm going to teach is a little bit different from this. But anyway, guys, this is a whole bunch of different layers, and each one of these layers has a little arrow. So there's stuff inside of it. As you can see, this one is like opened a little bit, and underneath you see that there. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of little elements in here. So there's a lot of complication. And you seem to be handling it really well. So wonderful. Congratulations. And I'll be teaching you more about how to create this. The only other comment from a point of view of, if you ever want to put something here that you want my comment from the point of view of design, I can give you a little bit of that too.
Okay.
But you need to tell me, because I don't want to be like critical if you don't want to. Last session, we had someone who posted a poster and she said, yeah, I do want some of that. And then the whole community chipped in and she just got so much out of it. She said, oh my God, this is the best ever because people were so helpful. But on the other hand, you also might want to just, I posted for you to see and then it's fine that we don't say anything. My only comment I'm going to say now that has nothing to do with design per se, but it has to do with the fact that there's more space at the top than at the bottom. So you might want to grab the circle that you're basing yourself on the Mixteco Ninja community and make it a tad bigger so that there's even space between here and there. Just a quick little comment.
Okay,
Other than that, you let me know when you guys post things that are on your own, that your own work that you're doing. Let me know here in the comments whether you'd welcome some tips or not, or if you're happy with things how they are, or whatever it is that you're trying to do. Okay, and then I don't want to just jump in and tell you this is good or bad. Is nothing I will ever say, but I might say you might enhance this, you might work on that, you might rework this, you might consider that kind of stuff. But sometimes it's really good to get the feeling of what a non-designer says. And many of you guys are still not designers, you're learning it. And it's really good to have the points of view of the regular public, who in the end is the one who's going to see this logo and have their opinions on what they think about it. Okay. Because then it gives you, as the person who's, when you're in the middle of your project, you're imbued in it. Sometimes you need that distance. You need that, basically an editor to, point of view of someone else to come and see and give you, and you're happy, you can discard that opinion, take it on as the right solution, incorporate it into your ideas, but getting feedback usually is just only gives you more power, right? So anyway, awesome work. I can see you're pretty advanced in your use of Illustrator. So that's really cool to have a very experienced person in the group. Thank you for that. Now, if there's any specific question, remember to ask me. Other than that, I'm going to go back into Illustrator, and we're going to keep working with Illustrator. Now, for those of you who were here last week, then if you first open Illustrator, you'll see that in the beginning opening page right here where it says welcome to Illustrator, it has an area called recent, and right under that you will have the latest files that you've been creating. So in our case, I believe for this class, this is a latest file. And if you don't remember, you can look at, you know, the dates of when you did it. You might go, oh no, that's the version from this, or that's the version from that. So this is something that I work with in the class that I taught on Thursday, where I'm teaching digital design techniques. Okay. And then this over here is the one 7 days ago that we worked on a week ago in this class. So right now we don't necessarily need to open any of our older versions, but just so you know, this would be a place where you could go to quickly open something that's existing. All right. Now, I didn't show you Bridge the other day, so I want to show you Bridge. I'm going to open Bridge. For those of you who are on VDI, meaning you're on Windows, you can open a program here from Start. So you go over here and choose Adobe Bridge. Those of you who are at home, I had already warned you that I wanted you to be able to use Bridge. So go ahead and find your Bridge and open your Bridge program. So I'm going to click on Bridge over here. Remind me again, who's on VDI here? Patricia, Vera, anyone else? Give me a yes if you're on VDI, or if you're not, like Patricia and Vera are on video, but if you're on VDI and you're not
This is
on
my
video.
last day on VDI. I got that college buys deal, but
You
it's
bought,
downloaded yet.
okay, wonderful. Good job.
We are in VDI. We need to use the bridge in the program, or in my bridge.
I don't understand your question. Can you ask me again?
Yeah, if I'm working in VDI,
Mhm.
okay, and in View, can I have to open Bridge in that same program, right?
Yes, yes, and VDI. So you go down here to the Start button and go look for Adobe Bridge right there and open it from there. All right. Now, when it opens up, you're going to be probably in a place like this. It's probably on your name. Now, when you open it up, you might be in something totally different. You might be in something that looks kind of like that, like something totally much different than mine. So make sure, here's Gustavo, let me let him in. Here you go. So make sure to be selecting the word essentials over here. Click on the word essentials. And you might already be in essentials, that's fine. But just in case you were in another of these choices. So this is equivalent to all those workspaces that I talked about in Illustrator last week. So all of these are the different workspaces. And so see how it changes a lot. I want us all to be on the same one, essentials. And then if even when you get to essentials, if things are really different, you might want to go to this little arrow and then just do a little whole reset workspace, just so that it goes back to the original essentials. In case you've ever, now if you've never used Bridge, then this will be how it will open, because this is the basic opening setup of Bridge. Okay. Hi again, Gustavo. It's nice to see all of those of you who do the morning and afternoon with me, and we're all like golumphing the food. But here we are. Let's head over here to this PC. Click on this PC. Okay. And people who are actually, if you're on, I'm sorry, I said this PC. If you're on a Mac, on your own computer, not if you're in a Mac on VDI, but if you're in a true Mac where you have your own computers, you can just go to your name here that will show up. And then you could probably, I'm assuming that you downloaded the files onto your downloads folder. You can double click the downloads folder. This is for people who are on their own computers on a Mac. If you are on a PC, then you can click on this PC and it's your own computer. You can also then go find the downloads folder. That's good. Now sit there and hopefully that's where you downloaded the stuff. No, don't move from there. Don't open anything else. If, on the other hand, you are on VDI, you need to click on this PC, and then you need to go and open the Google Drive. So those VDI people, no matter if you're a Mac or a PC person, you click on this PC and go to Google Drive and double click on Google Drive. So for VDI people, after you pass the Google Drive, you need to go click on Shared Drives, double click Shared Drives. And then here you will see the folder for the Illustrator class. So double click on, here it is, Illustrator Shared Drive. You guys will see only that one. If you're in only this class, you will just see one. And then you'll be in Illustrator Shared Drive. So once that opens up, at this point, we should all be in the exact same spot. And what I mean by this is you should all be looking at one folder called Download Illustrator Class Files. I don't want you to open it. I want you to find this folder. So if you found this folder, say, I'm going to clear everyone's feedback. If you found this folder, say yes. If you did not find this folder, say no. And I need to help everyone find this folder. That's the next step. So say yes if you found it, and no if you didn't, and then I'll help. Okay, Linda. You just signed into the class, but you are on the roster. So sometimes it takes a little bit, but if you go to this, are you on, oh, because you're on your own computer.
No,
Stuff.
I'm on VDI.
You're on VDI. So
Yeah.
if you went to Google Drive, when you go to Google Drive, Shared Drives, do you not see the Illustrator folder yet?
Right now, it's still just Photoshop.
Just Photoshop.
So,
It takes a little bit
yeah.
of time. You are,
Okay.
I did check in the roster, your name already appears, but the system has to kind of figure it out that you're in there.
Oh, wait.
Um,
Oh, yeah, no, it's still.
so
okay.
maybe do a refresh. Did you just open Bridge, or is this the same Bridge you had open from Photoshop?
It's the same bridge. It's the same bridge I
Yeah,
had.
so you might need to do is, what you might need to do is you might need to close Bridge,
Okay.
reset your Google Drive, because your Google Drive now is showing you the Illustrator files, which it wasn't doing before. So go sign out of your Google Drive and sign in again. Remember what I showed you how to do that?
Yes.
And then open Bridge, and it might by then pick up your Illustrator files. So Linda just signed into the class an hour or so ago, and so that kind of affects how whether you can find the files yet in your Google Drive. Okay, so the point I was making is that everyone else, I am seeing that everyone else, Joan, you're not answering on either of your computers. So do you have the files?
So my files just came in as files, and I have no folder because I put them on my own desktop. Does that make sense?
Then go click on the word desktop and find the folder of
Well,
downloaded.
it's not on my desktop. The folder doesn't come up just as a folder.
You put the files loose. All
I
the
put them in
files
documents.
in documents. All
Uh-huh.
right. But so if you put them in documents, but you left them in there loosely instead of in a folder?
No, they're in a folder.
Okay, so then go to documents and find the
Uh-huh.
folder. Yeah.
Okay.
So wherever it is on your computer that you have them, that's all that matters. Just go find the folder. Okay. I highly recommend not having it on the desktop. I love having it in the documents is the best place. Some of you still have it in the downloads because you didn't move it from there. But if you moved it to documents, that's fine. Find the folder. And now everyone seems to have said yes to found the folder. So now watch what I'm going to do. We don't want to have to come find this folder of files each time we come to Bridge. So over here, see this portion of the, let me put the little color on my spotlight, which makes it easier for you guys to see. So here, this tab here is called favorites. Okay. And it's just a place where you put shortcuts to the places that you want to go most. And the computer has already put a couple of basic ones for you there, but you have a chance to put your own here. So here I have my summer and my digital science techniques class files because those are the two classes I'm teaching right now. Now I want us to grab this downloads Illustrator class and drag it here. When you see that blue line, you let go. And now there you have a shortcut link to your Illustrator class files. And then click on that link and then all of the class files will open up. And now it doesn't matter if you put them in desktop and downloads and documents, if you forgot where you put them next week, because wherever they are, when you click on this link, it'll take you to where they are and they will open up. Okay. So this is just a quick way to make sure that you just open up Bridge, click on this, and there's the Illustrator class files. If this worked for you, yay. If it didn't work for you, say no. So I'm clearing your feedback. And if you need help getting that little guy there, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to chomp on the other half of my pot stickers. I'm still trying to finish while you guys do that.
Sorry, Diane, would you repeat that one more time?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you find the folder that says download?
Yes, I have the folder, but the other little folder is opened.
Well, if you already double clicked on it and in there, you need to back up once to the word Illustrator shared drive, like that. Or if you're on VDI, right? No, you're on.
I'm on VDI today.
Yeah. Go back to Illustrator shared drive. And then do you see the downloads Illustrator class?
Yes.
Okay, now grab that guy and just drag it out and put it in here. When you see this blue line, let go. And you'll create a quick little link to it.
Okay. Did it. Thank you.
Did that work? Okay.
Yes.
And then when you click on it. All right. Is everyone there? Okay. Cool. I'm sorry. I need to. I got some little pot sticker stuck. This is why you shouldn't eat in class. I can't. Oh, well, it shall stay there. Okay. So I need to mute. Let me see. I'm gonna try muting Joan. See if that does it. Yeah. Got noise in the background, so I'm muting where sometimes I can tell where the noise comes from. Sometimes I can't. All right. So last week we spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out the tools, the basic tools. We did a quick review. So if you're very new to Illustrator, by the way, let me check in with you. Linda, are you new to Illustrator? Or have you done anything?
I've done it before, but I'm not great at it. So
Okay, but it's not new to you. Good. That's
It's
good. to
not.
know. Someone has a radio on or something. Okay. All right. So we're going to keep creating some basic shapes and learning how to manipulate them. And there's quite a few examples here of things that are done with basic shapes. So up until now, all we used was a star and a rectangle, I believe, if we even got as far as that. But now don't double click because I don't want to open these files. I just want to have them show up here on the preview. So I'm going to click on this one that says birds. And in case you don't see it here, it's possible that you're seeing the publish tab, and then go ahead and click on preview tab. And then you'll see this little icon here, this little expanded view of it. So based on everything that we did last week, we can almost everything we did last, there's a few more things that happened here, but you can almost create this little bird, except for one more thing I need to teach you. Same thing with this, this little landscape of a little bucolic farm, if you want. Now, they're basic shapes that are put together. This one is basic shapes and modified basic shapes and things created with the pen tool. And then there's also a couple more steps here, like this little eyeball and this little wing is created with another thing that I haven't shown you yet about intersections. So we're going to work a little bit about that with that to be able to create something a little bit more complicated. But down here at the bottom, there's this thing called drawing. There's two of these. This one shouldn't be there, interestingly enough. So I'm going to get rid of it so that people who are in, it'll disappear for those of you who are in VDI. I'm going to say to the cycle bin, so it'll disappear. So if you are at home and you see the one on top that has some blue on it, you can delete it or leave it there. It doesn't matter, but it shouldn't have been there. This is the one that I want to have there, which is drawing shapes.robot AI. And over here, you can do this in a simple way or in a slightly more complicated way. Not more complicated. In a more advanced way where you create something different with these holes. But all of this is basically stuff that you can do right now. I want to show you a few steps. And then, where's the other one? And then we have at the very bottom here, it says transforming. And here again, we have something that's another bit of a landscape where again, just with basic shapes, you can get that kind of stuff done. And you already know how to do most of what it would take to do almost all of these shapes. Okay, so I'm going to teach you a few more steps of what you might need in order to get a couple of extra ones of these things done. And then we can move forward into more complicated shapes and material. So back to, where are we? I wanted to go back. Oh, by the way, and here there's this simple birds over here. And then if you go down to this one that's on the E, once you create one of those birds and you group it, and then you can repeat it and modify it and create what would seem to be a much more complicated image. But in the end, it's a bunch of the same basic shapes put together with different colors. Now, if this isn't big enough for you to see, another way to see this image bigger without opening an Illustrator is to select the image and then hit your space bar. And what'll happen is it's going to get open on its own. Oh, and now I just kind of made it bigger by squeezing on the right and then hit the space bar again and it gets smaller again. So you can see it a bit bigger sometimes than what you can see it in here, or select this one and hit the space bar and then it becomes bigger and then it gets smaller. Okay. So what I want us to do is see what's going to be needed for us to be able to create a shape like this bird. So let's open this bird and explore it for a little bit. So now this is a PNG. Who knows, based on maybe other classes that you've taken with me, what a PNG might be?
PNGs.
Photoshop. It's a Photoshop photo.
Yes, it's not a Photoshop per se, but yes, you can create a PNG from Photoshop and from a couple of other programs as well. But one thing that's true for I said Photoshop is that it is a pixel-based image. It's a raster image. A PNG, if you hit the space bar and look at it, you might notice that the lines, although sharp, they're not necessarily, I mean, they're sharp, but there's a tiny little slight feeling of fuzziness in them. Do you know what I'm talking about? Can you tell that?
Mhm.
That's because in Photoshop or in pixel-based images, and I'm going to try to get a little bit bigger here. Sorry, I don't know if VDI is going to let me. I'm going to scroll up a little bit more. Yeah, it's not liking it. It only goes really crazy. Come on, come down a little bit. No, it's not going to let me. Okay. You can try to scroll up a little bit if you can, and you'll see that this is made out of lots of little squares. So it's not a straight line. Okay. Which is the opposite of what we want to do. What we want to do, if you open this one, the one that's an AI, Adobe Illustrator, and you see it here, if you could scroll this without it going crazy on me, you'll see that no matter how big I make it, well, not in the preview, I guess, okay, this is the effect of what I wanted to show you in the other one. This is just a preview. So the preview ends up looking pixelated. So see how these lines are straight, but not really, because you have all these little edges to it. So that's what would happen if we leave this image as a pixel-based file. So the originating file being made as an Adobe Illustrator file will mean that these images in the Illustrator format, when I open them, can be made as small as a stamp or as big as the side of a building, and it will still look tack sharp. Okay, so the little bird exported as a PNG and opened as a PNG will only be able to be that size, and anything bigger, it'll start to break up, kind of like what we just saw. The preview that I'm showing you is a preview that's a raster preview, which is why even the AI got broken up. But let's go ahead and open this AI first, and you will see, because it's an Adobe Illustrator file, as I double click on it, it'll open up in Illustrator. Joan, your hand is up. Is there a question that I missed, or did I answer?
Yes, I think I'm a little lost. Are you in Bridge first and then you open everything through Bridge?
I'm showing people Bridge. Yeah, last week we had only used Illustrator, but today I opened Bridge, and I'm showing you things in Bridge by opening it, and by double clicking in Bridge,
Yeah.
Illustrator gets opened up. So if you didn't have Illustrator opened, by double clicking a .ai file in Bridge, it will kick Illustrator open, and the file
Okay.
will open in Illustrator.
And
Okay.
it's Bridge where I can drag the folder into it and put it in. Is that right? It's through Bridge?
Yeah, it's through Bridge that we did this little place to drag it here.
Okay, so I can catch it. Okay, thank you.
For some of my classes, this is very important. For Photoshop, Bridge is crucial. For digital design techniques, it's crucial. For Illustrator, I sometimes don't bother with Bridge because we just create files from scratch a lot. But other times we do work with files that are existing files that we're working off. And this time I decided to do that. I try to vary because some people take my class a few different times, and I always try to work on different files. Since last time I didn't teach you using the Bridge files, this time I will. So just different choices. But it's not crucial for Illustrator versus it is crucial for the other programs for different reasons. So here I am in Illustrator, and now I am seeing this image head down to the bottom corner left and see that it says 27, but basically 28% magnification down here in the bottom of this corner. So that means that I still can make this much bigger or much smaller, but the quick way to get to say 100% to just kind of go quickly to it, either hold the control or the command key. If you're on a Mac, it's command. If you're on a PC, it's control. But if you are on VDI, you're on a PC, remember. So go to your keyboard, even if it's a Mac keyboard, and hold down the control, keep it held down, and then tap the number 1. And when you hold down the control key or command key and tap the number 1, you get to a number down here that'll say 100%. For those of you who are in Photoshop, you know that 100% is really important for Photoshop. It's not that important for Illustrator at all, because if this were Photoshop, now we would be looking sharp. But then the moment we start going higher, which would be control plus, 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 each time I hit the plus, so I'm holding down the control or command key again, then I'm tapping the plus, plus, plus. Notice that no matter what I do, my lines are incredibly sharp. Okay. Now I'm going to do Control-0 again and back to fill in my screen. I kind of do this little exercise so that you remember the shortcuts. I know I did this last week, but I want to make sure that everyone remembers how to zoom in and zoom out and do the shortcuts to get to fill your screen. So again, Control+++. And then now there's one thing that I want you to notice, that if I now don't have anything selected at all, and if I hit Control+++, it just zooms into the center of the image. So I'm going to say Control-0 again. But say that I want to zoom in onto this apple or to this butterfly. If I click this butterfly first and then I do Control+++, it's going to zoom in onto that butterfly. Okay, so when you're looking for a particular place that you want to zoom into, then you might want to first select it. I'm going to hit Command-0 again, and now I'm going to choose this bird. And now I'm going to do Control+++, and I'm going to zoom into that bird. Does that make sense? So now hit Control or Command-0 again to fill your screen. Now notice, this is where, Saul, we're going to differ a little bit between what you have and where I have, which is over here on the right side, we have the Layers tab. So I'm going to click on this Layers tab. And notice that all of this art has been created in one layer. Remember that Saul had many layers? It's not right or wrong to do it one way or another. I'm just showing you different ways. Now, I work in many programs at the same time. I work in InDesign, I work in Photoshop, I work in Illustrator for this kind of stuff. I have Premiere, editing, video editing, other kind of stuff. But in these three programs that I mentioned, the word layers exists in all of them, but they operate a little bit differently in Illustrator and in InDesign, in the sense that normally in Illustrator and InDesign, we don't put each element on its own layer. Rather, we have one layer for the art, one layer maybe for the text, one layer maybe for guides. So we have layers for different elements in the picture. But for the most part, the objects, or in this case, the birds and the leaves and the apples, they're all part of the same layer. And what we do to distinguish them, because look, if I try to grab this bird and move it, my whole bird is moving, right? So how can that happen if it's not a layer? Well, if it's not of its own layer, because if it were not its own layer, you could do that, right? But no, instead of having it be in its own layer, what I have is I've made it a group. Okay, so there's a group for this bird and a group for that bird. And there's even a group for this little, oh, looks like somebody forgot to group these. I didn't make this art, by the way. This is sample art. But see how that was not grouped. And so then I ended up kind of separating the leaf. Ideally, is that all? Is that the way they all are? Yeah, all of them. See, this is a problem. This should have been grouped, because then I could move each leaf together. Now I have to select both of these elements to move this leaf. So ideally they would have been grouped. How about the apple? The apple is interesting because they made a group of the red, of the, so to say, red and the shade and the highlight, but then they didn't seem to have grouped. So whoever made this didn't really work very well. I guess the idea is because each time they have the same apple everywhere, but then this time they have a short stem and they have the leaf over here. Here you have a short stem and a leaf over there. So they're changing that part each time, which you can still have done within the group. I'm going to show you more about that. Anyway, so what does this mean? If I go here to where it says layers, look what happens when I expand the layer by opening this little arrow. Click on this little arrow and I have a ton of elements, right? If I scroll up and down and up and down, there's tons of elements. So this is actually not a very good example because this is a very bit of a messy file where the things that are not layered are kind of creating a whole bunch of extra stuff. But each one of these that has a little arrow, that's a group, and that's one of the correctly grouped elements. Okay, so that's a group which is a bird, and that's a group which is a bird, and that's a group. So it looks like they did the birds pretty well, but then they didn't do much of the other stuff. Okay, I don't see the butterflies. Are the butterflies being grouped? No, the butterflies has not been grouped either. So anyway, this is a good example of how not to do things. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to help you learn more about groups, and then we can come and fix this one. But yes, Vera, you have your hand up. Vera, your hand is up. Your sound is off, so if you're speaking, yeah.
I have a message saying can't open the illustration. There's not enough room for the window. Increase document area and try again.
I can't tell what's happening, so let me stop my share and share your screen so I can tell. Hi, Lisa. Thanks for joining us. So, Lisa, do you have the class files downloaded yet?
Yes, I do. It's
Okay.
downloaded.
So Bridge, go and find them, and this is the one that we're opening up, exporting.ai, okay?
Yeah, I already did that. Great.
Oh, you already got that. Okay, great. Oh, well, I'm talking about not Lisa Douglas. Lisa Draper just joined us. So who answered isn't the Lisa I was addressing.
Sorry.
That's okay. So Lisa Draper is the person I was checking in with. So Lisa Draper, when you're ready to speak to me, let me know. I'm showing you how to catch up with us. There's two Lisas, but Lisa Draper just joined us. Okay.
Are you
Let
seeing?
me see. I'm seeing can't open the illustration. Oh, look at your Illustrator. Okay, I'm gonna have to ask you to let me handle your computer, because let me go ahead and give me a second. I'm going to say request remote control. Can you say yes to that? Okay, so now don't do anything with your mouse anymore. Look what happened. Your Illustrator entire program has become this teensy weensy little window there. Right there, you see that? I don't know how come or how that happened, but that's what's happening. So I'm going to say okay to that. Okay, understand your message. And now let's go and expand this window. There it is. So now it's much bigger. So now you can go back to Bridge. And now go ahead and double click on that file and open it up. And there it is, it's opening.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Now, sorry. Over here, you want to be in the layers and the tab over here on the right side. You want to be in your layers panel over on the right, and then go to this little arrow and expand. Yeah, there you go. So that's where we are. So I'm going to stop your share. Lisa, do you need a hand to catch up to where we are? Lisa Draper now this time? I'm not hearing you. I think you, yeah, you unmuted yourself, but I don't hear you. Well, until I can hear you, I'm going to answer. Saul, you have a question? Saul?
Talking about the group, I
Mhm.
saw your layers all combined in one group. I try to select all of it and group it, and my keyboard doesn't allow me to do it, or either the keyboard or the software. Adobe doesn't let me do it.
Well, I'm going to show you now how to do it, and then we can see if we can apply it to your document.
Okay.
It's a perfect learning experience. Now, you can't select them all at the same time right now because they are on different layers, just so you know. When they're on different layers, you can't group things. So that's one of the drawbacks of using different layers. And guys, just so you know what we're talking about, I just wanted to go back to showing you this one that Saul just posted. I'm so appreciate when people post their work so that I can make comments in it and help, but also because it helps other people teach, learn
Okay.
things. So notice how he has things on different layers. So if you try to group something from that layer to this layer, it won't work. You have to have things on the same layer for them to be grouped. So if you're trying to group things that right now are already in different layers, you have
Yes.
to first put them in
I
the
mean,
same
if
layers.
you want, I can show you. I have the file already open.
Okay, so that's good. So go ahead and, oh, I wasn't sharing my screen. The last thing I was showing you.
No,
Shoot, you got to tell me, 1 second. Let me
Okay.
share my screen so people know what I was talking about. Guys, when I say look at this and you're not seeing anything, you got to tell me that you're not seeing anything. I was going back to a file that Saul shared with us so generously, and I was mentioning that he has many different layers here as opposed to what we have, which was one layer that we twirled open. But all I'm saying is that you can't select something from one layer, something from another layer, and turn it into a group. Now, I haven't shown you all yet how to make a group. So first, before you show me your file, Saul, let me show everyone how to make a group first, and then we'll go to see your example, okay?
Okay, okay.
So give me a minute with that, and then I'll show you how to make an example. And Lisa Draper, this time, here's the file that we've got open, the one called exporting.ai. Okay, since you asked me on the chat. So hopefully you can open that one and then catch up. And Lisa has already also taken this class, so she can catch up to where we are, or a version of this class. All right, so guys, in Illustrator, let's go ahead and choose a couple of these things that we need to make bigger, better. So let's head over to this top left, just to make it really easy. This is a bird that's already, oh, this bird is not grouped. Okay, this is a perfect example. Let's select this big wing. Whoever created this file was not very consistent with their group making. Select this wing. And now remember, if you do Control or Command plus, you're going to get to zoom in to that area. Okay, so go ahead and zoom into that area with the Control plus. And then when you want to move around, you can hold the space bar and drag around until you scooch to the right place. Okay, and I'm going to scooch over here where I can see this bird, and I can also see this butterfly, which again, in this case, this butterfly was grouped, but remember we found a butterfly way down there that was not grouped. So for now, we're going to stick to this bird that's not grouped. Is everyone here? I'm going to go ahead and clear all feedback again so that if I have to ask you questions, I know who's answering. So, but I went right.
Yeah, no, sorry, I lost, the screen is now gray, so how do I get it back?
Go ahead and first of all, hit the Control 0.
Yep. It didn't come back.
All right, so I heard a big tick, which
Yeah,
means
it
you're not in the program yet, is all I'm saying. So click on your Illustrator with your mouse, somewhere, any part of your Illustrator, just single click, and then do Control 0.
No, there
Okay,
it is.
so
There it is.
it is, yeah. When I hear that little tick, the Macs make that little tick, which shows me that it's not that peak for any Mac person. You need to know that means that whatever you're trying to do is not working. That usually happens when you're trying to operate on Illustrator, but you're actually in a different program.
Okay.
So that's why I told you, click on Illustrator and then it'll work. All right. It's funny how as a teacher, you become accustomed to hearing the slightest little key or clue that'll help me help you guys. And that was that little tiny sound is a clue. All right. So now if you are here with this corner bird up and big on your screen, all is good, say yes. If you are not here and you need me to help you catch up to this, say no. Give me a little red note so that I can help you catch up, because I want everyone to be in the same spot before we get going on the next set. So say no if you need help. Okay. So Lisa, you can't speak. Lisa Draper's mic isn't working. All I need you to do, Lisa, is to see, did you hear that sound? I don't know if you heard my dick, but my little dick just happened from my own thing. Were you able to open your files in Bridge, Lisa? Because if so, I need you to double click on this one. If for chance you don't have Bridge open and you just have the class files, then just forget about it. Just go to Illustrator and say file open, navigate to exporting AI. But if you're nowhere near and your question is bigger than that, do you want to just share your screen? Then write to me in the chat that you want to share your screen, then I'll help you get there. Waiting for your answer on the chat if you can't speak. Well, I'm not sure. Maybe Lisa can't hear me either. She's got a problem with her mic, but maybe she's not hearing me. So I'll continue until I get an answer from her. So, Maysan, are you here? Linda, how about you? What's up with you and the files? Are you?
It's still not, for some reason, they're not in my, available to me yet, but I'll let you.
Okay.
know.
All right.
It'll work out.
I can email you this one file, but we're going to be opening different ones. But here, let me go and email you this one file, which isn't here. It's pretty. I mean, download this file, and I'm going to send you an email.
I'll also need Padlet eventually. I know you're spinning plates like crazy over there, but
Give me a second while I give you this file. Downloads. Okay, so I just sent you the file. There you go. And the Padlet link for this class is, let me post it down here. Thank you, because I do want everyone to know how to get to this. I just posted the Padlet in the chat. You can copy it from there, or you can ask it by email. I'll send it again. Okay. Oh, good. So Lisa's entering with another computer, so maybe she can speak with us. All right, guys. So here we are. Most of you have answered that you're able to get here. So I'm going to continue with the majority and then stop me when I can help you. All right. So if I now click on this bird's wing, I can actually move it and mess up the bird, right? So now do that, mess up the bird. And then to undo that, I want you to hold down the control or the command key and then tap the letter Z one time to undo that mess up. So if I mess up by moving it twice, then I have to do control Z and Z to undo 2 steps, okay? So make 2 things that are wrong and then control Z, Z. And if you do 1, 2, 3, 4 things that are wrong, then you hold down control or command and you go tap 1, 2, 3, 4, the Z, and that undoes every one of the things that you didn't want to do, okay? So everyone go ahead and make a mess and then control or command, if you're on a Mac or on a PC, and tap the Z, okay? So that's the undo. And whenever you mess up something, say that you grab this and suddenly you go, woo, and you, instead of trying to fix it, never try to fix. Always first undo, okay? Control or command Z, undo. It is always the safer thing to do. It's the opposite. As someone who's used computers all my life, and I always think, I wish in the world we could always undo things instead of having to fix it. We don't have an undo. Whenever we do something in real life, it's done. There's no undo available, right? And then computers you can undo. So please undo first, so then you don't have to fix anything. All right. So Lisa, I believe I can hear you now, right? So that means that your sound is up. Okay. Did you need a hand knowing which file to open? Is that what you were saying? Or did you?
I downloaded the summer files, but I don't see, I don't know what, I don't want the echo. That's why I logged back out.
Now you need to take the sound off of your other computer. So the one that's not working, but that still is actually causing a reverb, go to the mute button.
Okay.
And go to that little arrow next to the mute button. Click on that and say disconnect from disconnect.
That worked.
Leave computer audio or something like that. Is
All
what
right.
I'm using.
I got it that time. Okay. I don't wanna
Okay.
be-
All right. So you don't see the exporting.ai? Is that what you're saying?
Exporting or supporting?
Exporting.
Okay. That's.
Exporting AI. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to first try it out on this little leaf. Here, when you click on this green, you get this one portion. I'm going to Command Z to bring it back to its right spot. And when I click on the green side, I'm moving the green side. Command Z. I'm getting like a little duplicate of Me. Okay, Lisa, I'm gonna mute you because I think it's coming somehow from you.
Probably.
Okay, now you're muted. I was hearing a repeat of myself. All right, guys, so here's what we're gonna do. We need to select both of these green colors. So how we're gonna do that is first select the dark green, hold down the shift key, and then select the light green. So now you have both selected at the same time. You could also click out here and just drag over these two, and that'll select both at the same time. So we practiced this last week. Either do a little like grab of both that selects both, or click first on one, hold down the shift, click on the next, and that also works to select both. Okay, so does everyone have two of these elements selected? All right, now we're going to go ahead and if the shortcut would be Command or Control G, or you can go to Object and Group right there. Here's the shortcut and say Group. The moment you group them, nothing officially seems to be happening, but if I click away and then grab them the next time, now we have a little grouped leaf. Okay. Now by having one grouped leaf, we could have then duplicated this one 250 times to make it all these other leaves. Instead, each one of these now is ungrouped, and it's going to take a while to fix that and group everything. So ideally, you first group your shapes and then you create the big multitude of leaves. Okay. So this that we did here in small is what we're going to do here for this one. But I want to show you some stuff here on the layers first before we move on to doing this bird. First of all, over here, we have some elements that are already grouped, such as this bird. If I go over to this little arrow and expand this one, you will see that in this group, you have each one of the individual elements that forms this bird. You see that? So this is a good way to organize your layers, also grouping them, because if you have this part of the leaf and this part of the leaf loose, and this part of the bird and this part of the bird all loose, you have a lot of these little loose elements. These are all the stems of those flowers that are loose, versus if each one was nicely connected to its little apple or leaf shape, then you would have one little group called, you know, apple or bird or whatever these things are. So it also helps you organize your files when you collect them. So now we're going to select these different elements, and probably some of these loose little pieces that are all over the place are going to come together and form a group. As much as if I scroll down, I have hours and hours of little leaf elements. We have one down here that is the one that we just created. And how do I know it's the one we just created? Because it's selected and it has a little blue dot right there. See that little blue box? That means that it's the one that's selected. Go ahead and unclick over here, deselect this leaf group that we just created. And then if you go over here, you can see, and you might not have found it yet. If you go up and down, you might find it or not. But I found it over here. And let me tell you how I can select it from over here is by clicking on this little round circle. And when I do that, that selects my group as well. And it brings up this little box. So that's what shows that it's selected. But all the rest of them are loose and it's hard to know which is which. All right. So now let's head over here, since I can't tell from here which is which. I don't know if this is part of the bird or part of a plant. I don't know what is what. So this limits my usefulness of all of this. I would never want a layers panel to look like this. If a layers panel looks like this, you definitely were better off making it the individual layers. So now let's select this little dot for the eye, hold down the shift key, select this little triangle, select the belly. I try to select the small stuff first, select the wings, and then select the body. So maybe that doesn't work. Maybe the body, because wing, belly, because they kind of this one is so big that it kind of overlaps the others. So we need to figure out a good way to select them all. Select, maybe this way, what you first should select is these two little bits and pieces. Then select the belly, then select the body. And then this one, it's not going to let me because it deselects, which is why this is such a hard thing. Let's move this one out. This is the best way. Let's move this out and then just grab like this and drag a little bit of each. Make sure not to touch this leaf or anything, but if you grab this way, you've grabbed a little bit of each thing. See how even a little bit of this has been grabbed? And then I have the whole bird. So again, if this leaf was in the way, move it out of the way. And then put your mouse somewhere over here and then drag across most of the shapes. As long as you don't touch this leaf, you're fine. That's enough for this one. And let go. And that gives you a bit of each. And now, if I want to know what's selected, I still don't know because everything is, all over the place. So nothing is helping yet. I'm having, here's one of the spots. Here's another of the spots. Here's another of the spots. Here's another. So they're all different little bits and pieces are being selected. So now I'm going to put them all together and to go to object and say group. And now I have this as one group. And if I scroll up and down, I should see something that's blue right now somewhere. And that'll be my bird group. Here it is. Here's the bird group that I just created. Now I don't need to just leave it be with a name group. I could double click and call this one bird 1, bird 2, bird 3, who knows, red. Maybe these are supposed to be a particular kind of bird. Maybe this is a toucan. I'm going to invent that this is a toucan. So I'm going to double click on the word group and I'm going to call it toucan.
Deanna,
So then it's even.
Deanna, that included that leaf in the corner.
No, it didn't.
Okay.
Now, when I select the box, it looks like it included it because it's the bounding box is always going to be square. But as long as I hadn't selected that leaf, then when I move the bird, you'll see that it leaves the leaf behind. Now, if you did touch the leaf, it will come with you, in which case we need to take it out. But if not, it shouldn't have. So can everyone move this bird freely around now by just grabbing it and clicking without by having grouped it? If so, that's fine. If not, and you have no idea how I did this or it's not working for you, this is the time to speak up and say no, so that I can help you. And then if you did get a successful selection of a bird, then go over to that group and you'll discover it's the one that has the box and double click on the name and call it the name of whatever it is. Okay.
Deanna,
Yes.
it's Christian. So it did grab that leaf on the right, and I
Okay.
thought it wasn't grabbing it, but it actually did. Do you want me to share my screen with you?
Yeah. Just do this. Just undo. Say Control Z before you try to Control Z
Yeah,
to undo your group,
I
right?
did that.
And
Yeah.
then once your group is gone, then go ahead and try again. It takes a little bit of doing to now
Yeah,
mine
I'll
has
just
moved
keep
so
at
much.
it.
Just keep at it until
Yeah.
you can select without touching that.
Yeah, I was
Um,
moving that leaf out of the way, but it kept wanting to grab it even though I kept moving it off to the right.
Yeah, go ahead if you want to share your screen and we'll work with you on getting it
That's
right.
okay,
Because
I'll
I'm
just-
sure, but if it happened to you, it happened to others. So
Yeah.
it's good to show it a few more times. So go ahead and share your screen.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. I gotta get back there. Sorry.
Hmm,
Share screen. There we
no
go.
problem.
Share screen. Sharing right now.
Mhm.
So this is what
Yeah.
I did move it. So I'm
Mhm.
going
So
to,
each time you move it is a movement. So now when you do Command Z, it's gonna keep like going back, 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 back.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
So go ahead and instead of doing undo, just go ahead and ungroup the whole thing. So go up to object and say
Yep.
ungroup. Ungroup. Okay, now click away. And now try to select again. But it's going to be very hard to select them all, especially if you have that green leaf over there. So, which is now it's showing now what's happening to you is
Yeah.
showing you the power of groups. It's
Yeah,
really hard to work without things being grouped, right?
exactly. So I'm
So
going
go
to
ahead
group
and
this leaf and then wait, I thought I grouped it. Okay, I'm selecting. I am Command G. I'm grouping, and it's still. Why isn't that happening?
Yeah, because you're not selecting both because one is bigger than the other. You have to first
Oh,
select the
okay,
little
got it.
one, then shift and click the light green one.
Okay.
So first click away to deselect both. Click away.
Okay.
Okay, now select the dark green one first. No, the dark green one first because it's smaller. Now Control Shift and the big green one.
Yep.
Now you have both. Now you can say Control or Command G. Now you can grab it and move it out of the way.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to.
And now if you're
See
gonna
that?
do
It
it,
just keeps wanting to grab it, no matter how the box is like.
maybe you
Hold
made it, maybe you made another group when you were doing all your little groups with it.
Maybe.
Go ahead and go up to object and ungroup. And if it's available, then that means you've made a group out of that. Yeah,
Yep,
ungroup.
okay.
So as long as you can keep ungrouping. So now
Okay.
click away
Got it.
and then drag a little.
Oh.
No.
Sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, it's not going to work. I was trying to do it. And it wasn't going to. Yeah, there you go. And you just see how you're not touching that green leaf anywhere. So perfect. Now it's ready. Now group.
Okay.
Good. Now you have a bird that's not touching anything else.
Okay, great. Okay.
Okay.
Thank
So you
you.
just need to be a little bit careful with the selections.
Yeah.
And I have a better way. So I'm going to show you now a better way. Go ahead and undo your group.
Okay.
Okay. So look, you guys, when you have a situation like this, which is hard now, click away. You're like, wait, I just got it. Diana, don't make me do this. But I'm just going to find you a solution. There's another tool that, oh, how fun. It isn't available in this essentials mode. Go to the white arrow tool, the second arrow tool that's up there. Click and hold. Click and hold. Click your mouse and hold down. And you can see that there's 3 tools under that. So go to the bottom, which was a lasso tool. That lasso tool. Okay. Now with this lasso tool, you can draw around the areas that you want to select. So go ahead and click there and start drawing only around, but all around the bird.
Oh God. Okay.
Mhm. So click there again and make like a little bit of a birdie shape. And you again don't have to have it perfect. You can just get a bit of the shape and let go and boom. Now you've selected only,
Oh, wow.
well, you need to, but you need to select, no, with this, let me see, with the lasso tool, let me undo my group. You still need to select you do need to go all around. Sorry, you do need to go all around and select all of the anchors, not just part leaf. Otherwise, you're going to leave a bit of the leaf behind. Yeah, so go ahead and select all around the bird with this. But it helps you. There we go. Cool. And now you can go and group that.
Fantastic.
And that helps you in case you're in a
now.
tight point like you were before.
Okay.
Okay. And now you have to move back to the V.
To the V.
To the V or move tool to
Huh.
so
I guess I click out of it, then do V, because
Yeah,
if I'm hitting
click,
V.
yeah, the V should be moving you up to the V, the key on your keyboard without control or anything, just the V.
Yeah. Oh, I was doing Command V. Okay.
Just the V. And now
Okay,
you can
there we go.
select it.
Got it.
Okay.
Diana,
Now, by the way, I was showing this to Christian and I forgot to say, when I show a new tool, I want everyone to use it. This wasn't me trying to correct Christian. This was me showing. She had already done it with the other selections, but it was complicated. So I said, here's another way. So I want everyone to do that and try, like, use the lasso tool now and go and select 2 of those leaves and then group them again. Christian, can you do that?
Yeah,
2
sure.
of those miscellaneous leaves and then just surround one of those and that'll help you group it. Okay. And by the way, I was testing and no, you don't need to surround it perfectly. You can surround just the tip of the 2 green leaves. Make leaves only one leaf at a time.
Okay.
So just select the little tip of those 2. There we go. Not even the whole thing. You can select just the tip of those 2 and group it and it works.
Okay.
And then that'll work. So I'm just trying to show the different ways of doing it. So you can go down to the, let me stop your share. Thank you. You've been great.
Okay.
This is perfect.
Got it.
And now let me head over. I know that there's a couple other questions from you guys, but I want to just share. If I look at these two leaves, they are not connected. See that, you guys? They're not connected. So this is ungrouped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this lasso tool, and all I need to do is draw a little circle around these two. As long as I've touched both elements, then I can do Command G or Object G to group them, and I have grouped them. Okay. So now if I go back to my move tool and try to select this, I've made a group out of it. So you don't even have to take every little thing into account. You can just group these two, and there you go. That's enough. And then Command G or group, and you've made your group. Okay. So that might make it easier in a place as tight as this to make your groups just by selecting enough to get what's needed. So in this case, this is already grouped, but I'm going to ungroup it again. Poor guy, I keep grouping and ungrouping this guy. So now he's ungrouped again. See, like he's undone. If I grab this lasso tool now, I could just do something like this. And that's enough to select all the parts and pieces. Now I can just do Control G and group it. And now it's a group again. Okay. So I just grabbed a little bit of everything that makes it. And now I have my group. Now, since I lost my group, I have to rename it Toucan because I undid it in order to show you that. Okay. Hopefully by now, everyone's been working around doing groups of different things and playing and practicing this portion. Okay. I'm going to, there's some more depth to the whole groups conversation, but I want to make sure that you all have an idea of how to do groups. And now I'm going to let Saul, who had something. Oh, wait, there's a few more questions first before I go to Saul. Patricia, yes.
Can you help me to get the picture because I couldn't do it? Can I share? It happened to me, the same thing it happened to Vera.
Okay, share me your image or show your screen.
Share?
Yeah, show your screen.
Can you ask me to share the screen?
Yeah. Share screen.
Oh my God, I couldn't. Okay.
Sorry, I was going because I was eating still, so I couldn't say yes. I keep sneaking in my lunch when I have a second. Okay. So you don't have Bridge open.
Okay, it's right here.
So
Bottom right here. Okay.
Why are you using VDI when you own the applications?
Diana, I only have Photoshop and Lightroom.
Oh, that's true. That's true. You have the photography, which by the way is more expensive than getting the student account with everything. Just
I made a mistake. I had it all for $9.99 and then I canceled it and then I couldn't get them anymore for $9.99. So
well, $9.99 a month is still more money than the student version, which is $80 a year. And in the student version for $80 a year, you're getting all the applications, and $9.99 a month is still going to be $120 instead of $80. Okay. So you should try to go through the college buys situation. Anyway, okay. So where's the exploring? There it is. So can you double click on it?
Exploring?
Yeah, on the far right inside your move your mouse into the images. Yeah, and there's that bird exploring AI. There's a file name
right here.
Yeah, so double click on it. Oh, it was there. Yeah,
I did double click and it gives me the
let me see what it's saying. I can't.
We tried to read it, but it's too damaged to recover.
Oh, well, then what's happening to you is that you didn't sign into Google Drive at the beginning of your session. You need to sign into your Google Drive each time. So this is the example. This is when I say a corrupted file, you guys. So say okay to that, and let me help you fix that. So say okay to that. Okay, now go to the bottom right of your VDI screen. So we're at the end of the black, and go to that one icon, and go click on your Google Drive. And now go up to the, and click on that. Say preferences. And now on this one, go back to the same gears icon. No, up on top on the gears and say disconnect account. Up the top. Say disconnect. All right. So whenever you disconnect from an account correctly, then the next time you want to sign in, you get to connect again. So now go back to that same little triangle and now click on Google Drive and it'll ask you, oh, it didn't disconnect. Do you have any open files maybe that's stopping your disconnection?
No, but I can do, I can.
All right,
close
so
it and open it
go
again.
disconnect, disconnect again. I don't know why it didn't disconnect. Okay, say that again. Preferences, not quit, preferences. And disconnect again at the top. No, either right. Oh, you know what? Maybe that's what's happening. You have folders from computers. Go down to Google Drive. Go down to the Google Drive, which should have automatically been selected. Yeah, and now go to the gears and disconnect. And now disconnect account and disconnect.
Okay, Diana, I can go back, close it, and then open it again.
Well, that should have worked. I don't know why let's see if you're still, you should be getting a browse in, sign in. Yeah, that was disconnected. See, it has no color, so go back to it now. No, how bizarre. It's staying connected. So yeah, you might need to disconnect your browser,
Okay.
close your browser, close your bridge, close your
Okay.
Illustrator and
I'll
reconnect
do that.
again.
Thank you, Diana.
But that's the problem when the files say that, it's because they're corrupted. Now, thank you for speaking up, Patricia, but for anyone else there who is wondering what's happening and you don't have the file yet, please speak up by now because we've had this file open for, an hour or more, and I want to make sure that you guys can follow the class. And if you don't have the files, you can't follow the class. So speak up immediately. This was happening today in Photoshop. Everyone who had a problem was speaking up immediately, and we were all able to move forward really fast because the problems were being dealt with the moment they were happening. And I don't want to leave anyone behind. I don't want people to think that, oh, now I need to go and sit and watch the recording to understand it. I want you to have the questions while you're in class. So please promise me, Patricia, and everyone else who didn't have the file the moment I started, to let me help you get the file at the beginning. All right.
Okay.
And it's not just for you, but it's for everyone. There was quite a few, this happened now a few times here in this class. Speak in the moment. So that said, Lisa Draper, do you have the file open yet? You're okay? Give me a thumbs up with you. You don't have to mute yourself. Yeah, I think you're nodding. Yeah. I think you're nodding, but if not, all right. Anyone else does not have the files, you guys? Nope. Y'all have the files. All right. So again, I'm not trying to point it out because of Patricia, only because she's one of the 5 people who had this happen. I really, really, really want you to be able to practice as I speak, watching. I think, was it in this class that I said it or some other class that I said it? You can watch someone drive all you want, but you don't learn how to drive until you put your hands on the behind the seat, right? And your foot to the pedal. So don't just watch, try to do, because that's when the real questions will come up. Otherwise, you will have a theoretical idea of what Illustrator does, but you won't really be able to make it happen. All right. Okay, so now I just had us do a couple of groups. Hopefully some of you have been playing around and like this butterfly that isn't grouped, you've had a chance to work with it either with a lasso or with something else. And how I got the lasso, because I had her do it quickly, you might have not noticed. Every tool that has a little arrow underneath
Diana,
has more options. So if you
Diana.
click and hold, give me a second. When you click and hold a tool that has a little arrow underneath,
I was going to tell you to share your screen.
more tools pop up. Thank you. Yeah, there we go. I thought you were asking a new question because you said my name. Thank you for telling me to share my screen. So when you want to go to any of these tools, if they have a little arrow underneath, that means there's more tools underneath them. So if I click and hold this one, there's nothing there. Why? Because there's no other little triangle there. But if I click and hold this tool, oh, look at that. There's 3 tools underneath it. So the bottom one of those 3 is the lasso tool that I was talking about. So I can go in and grab most of this butterfly, and that allows me to now say Control or Command G, or go up to object and select the word group, and then I have grouped my butterfly. Okay, and then now I can go ahead and look over here to see where that butterfly, there it is. And that's the butterfly that I just created. So then I can call this one butterfly, and this one is maybe the orange one, I guess, because there's another one here that's the purple one. So okay, so as you start collecting and connecting things, you'll end up with only as many groups as elements are here, which in this case would be probably, see again, there's a couple, there's a lot of these birds that are not grouped, and others that are. So that's definitely what's making this file be such a mess on the layers. Normally I show you first how to do layers and groups, and then I show you a bad one. But anyway, I'm showing it to you backwards. So your turn. Show me your file. Let me stop my share. And let's see what you had to show me about your file. Whoops, are you there? Saul?
I got it, Diana.
All right, I'm wondering where Saul is. Oh, looks like he dropped out. Ah. You're not in the class. Okay, well, I can't have Saul show me something if he's not here. That's weird, because a few minutes ago he was still there. He must have gotten disconnected. Okay. Last class he kept, his connection kept connecting and disconnecting. He emailed me about it. So I happened to say, okay, your turn, right when he's not there, which is for him. All right. So let's go ahead and open a new file now. File, new. We're going to go ahead and make a few choices here as to what.
Screen again.
What's that?
Share your screen again.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for keeping me straight, Lisa. You're keeping me honest. Thank you. So let me close that. We're going to go to File, New. Okay, everyone say File, New. And when you get here, we're going to choose to make a print file. That choice, as we spoke last week, makes a whole bunch of difference in the settings of this original setup of this file. And we're going to choose a print file, and we're going to go over here and we're going to say, well, I don't really understand points. So I want to put this in a size that I understand. And for most people in this country, at least, bizarrely to me, would be inches. This is the reaction of people who grew up with centimeters, but yes, inches it is. And then we're going to save this. I like to have little square files here for the things that we play around with. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to say I want this to be a 5 by 5. So we're going to go in and make this also be 5 by 5. I also want to already know that I'm going to be using more than one artboard. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to tell this that I want 3 artboards. So I can select this and write a number 3, or I can just kind of click on this arrow and go up to number 3. Now, since I made it a 5 by 5, it doesn't matter if the orientation is landscape or portrait, because it's a 5 by 5. And now when I've got all those settings correct, I'm ready to say create. I'm going to wait until everyone has those settings. If you have them, go ahead and hit the create button. All right, so I'm going to hit create. Now, I am done. By the way, that was the last little bite of my lunch, so I'm going to stop eating in class. And next time I'll make a point of grabbing my lunch before I go talk to my kids, so that lunch is done by the time I'm here. So remember how last week we added artboards, and each time we added an artboard, it added itself kind of to the right. Notice that this time, when I added them from the beginning, they added themselves in a bit more of a stacked layer. Had we added 4, it would have popped up in here and it would have been like this little foursome. It doesn't matter what position they're in. The top left one is always number 1. This is number 2. This is number 3 and number 4 and that kind of thing. So right now we're going to start with number 1. So what I want us to do is I want us to create, we're going to create a shape with a circle. So we're going to go and choose our rectangle, hold down, and then we can go down and choose these ellipse tool, which is the second one down. Now,
yeah.
Yes.
So just quickly, if I'd wanted to see those artboards, say like 1, 2, 3 in a row, is it possible to rearrange them if you wanted to do that for some reason?
Yeah, I can head over to properties. By the way, I have to go back to having my move tool, right? So when I'm in the ellipse tool, I can't do that. So I have to hit my move tool and I can go over here to the properties panel. And this is what lets me edit my artboards. Okay. So I would click on my edit artboards. And then over here, I can play around with them and, organize them in any which way I want. So here I can say rearrange them all in whatever position I want them, one after the other, arrange by row, arrange by grid. So there's just all this different. So the default came up like that, but I could click on here and say arrange by row and say, okay. And there they've gotten arranged by row. Okay. So in this edit artboards, you can just kind of play around with stuff. So here I'm going to rearrange them and I'm going to leave them back in the same position as we just started, just so that I'm the same as everyone. But yeah, that's where you would play around with that. Okay.
Thank you.
And then you say exit. And now I'm going to go back to my ellipse tool. Okay. And before I create a circle, I'm going to go and first choose the properties. I'm going to choose the appearance, fill, and or stroke, yes or no, of this circle that I'm about to create. So I'm going to click here on the fill, and I'm going to choose a fill color. I'm going to start with a orange color, and I don't want to stroke. Well, actually, for this example, do I want to stroke? Sure, I want to stroke, but I want it in different colors. So I'm going to go with anything that's not blue. Okay, you guys, I never want blue for strokes because I want to be able to show you the stroke. And since the stroke shows up, the path shows up blue, it gets confusing if the stroke is blue. So I'm going to go with this little burgundy-ish, reddish thing, whatever there. And then I'm going to make it a little bit skinnier. So yes, you can go under 1 point. You can click here and go down and it goes to 0.75, 0.5. What we call 0.5 is what we call a hairline stroke. So let's try for a hairline stroke. You can choose whatever colors you want. I just don't want blue in the stroke. That's my only request, not to have it blue in the stroke. Okay, and now I'm going to go and make an ellipse, but I want it to be a perfect circle. So I'm going to hold down the shift key. And as I hold down the shift key, then that ellipse turns into no, it cannot be anything other than a perfect circle. And there we go. When I'm done with choosing the size I want, I can let go of my mouse first and then the shift. That way it stays as a perfect circle. Let me undo that. If I'm doing this and I hold down my shift, my circle turns into a circle. But if I let go of my shift, it goes back into being an oval. So you first need to make sure to let go of your mouse because that's the one that's controlling the size. But if I let go of my shift, then when I am done, I'll end up again with an oval. Okay, so hold down your shift and first let go of your mouse. Then that's it. Now you can't alter this more. Now you can let go of your shift. Does that make sense, you guys? I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that I'm showing only this page. So I have this little circle here. And I want to make another circle now. So go ahead and make another but smaller circle now. I'm going to make it a perfect circle again. So I hold down the shift to make it be a perfect circle when I move my mouse. And then I let go first of my mouse. But now I'm going to change its fill. So I'm going to change it to bright pink. I always use these very contrasty colors, not because I think they're pretty, but because for teaching, if I go with two similar shades, it makes it harder. So you guys choose whatever color you want, but this isn't about color, what I'm teaching you today. So contrasty colors work best for you to understand what I'm trying to teach as well. All right. So we have a little circle and a big circle. And now we're going to play around with how these two can interact with each other to create other shapes. So maybe from the past, some of you guys remember this. If so, tell me first before I tell the world. If I want to create one unique shape out of these two circles, does anyone remember what I should be doing?
Well, you group them and then you can erase the little lines that separate them.
Okay. You don't need to group them necessarily, so I'm going to skip that.
Oh no, I
But-
know the word. Oh, oh, dang it. It's on the tip.
I know, it's just there on the tip, right? It's like, oh, I'm about to say it.
I know, but it's gonna come to me in a second.
Yeah, no problem. Anyone else dare? Sam hasn't been in my classes for a while, but a couple of you guys were in my classes last session. Anyone here dare to remember? Actually, I think none of you guys, well, maybe Elvie was in the last class. All right. Most of you guys were in a class a few times ago. Now that I look at your names, I see some more that were there last time. Come now, you should be remembering.
Combine this shit. You combine them.
There you go.
So
It's very similar to that. And
It's
it's
a C word.
Yeah, it's you can-
Blend.
what's that?
Blend. Can you blend two shapes together?
I've taught you how to blend last week, but no, that's not blending. Okay, it's okay. Enough guessing. Let me tell you, it's very similar to the word combine. You would unite them. So you kind of got it there, Sam. It's unite instead of combine. But the whole point is that what we have a couple different ways to do it. But the important thing first is I'm not talking grouping now, where they move as one. Okay. This bird moves as one, but it's still combined of many different shapes. I'm talking about making one shape out of these two. So first I need to select both of them. So to select both of them, we've saw many different ways, but one of the ways to do that is to just kind of click here and drag across a little bit of each, and then I've selected both. As you can see, it's much easier when it's simple shapes. Remember, I'm still in my selection tool, right? The selection tool. I can do like that and select both shapes at the same time. When I do that, in the
Compound.
properties panel, I'm not going to compound them yet. That's different. In the properties panel, what happens with this panel is that it shows me the tools necessary to whatever I have now. So I have two things selected, so it gives me certain things. If I deselect, it shows me other choices. So I just want to remind you that every time the properties panel will always change based on what you have selected. If I have one shape selected, it shows me some stuff. If I have no shape selected, if I should have two other stuff. So this Pathfinder didn't show up when I had only one selected. I have only one, there's no Pathfinder here. The moment I select two shapes, something can be done with two shapes that you can't do with one. And so the Pathfinder and the align options show up. So whatever's in the properties depends, once again, on what it is that can be done. So in this case, what can be done is that we can unite these two shapes using the Pathfinder. So I'm going to click on this, click to unite, and boom. Now I have one shape out of two. The paths have merged, have joined, so that there is, that's kind of what Sam was saying, eliminate those lines in between. That's what's happening. You have now one shape. Okay. Now that they are one shape, see how the Pathfinder has disappeared again? Because we have one shape again. So you can't unite one shape. It has been united. So the Pathfinder option here has disappeared. Did everyone get their united shape? Cool. Now I'm going to say Control or Command Z so that we have our two shapes again. This is the reason I had you have two different contrasting colors. I want it to be clear to you when you're back to your original two shapes. Notice that when we united them, one color only took over. It's not like pink blends into orange. When you join the shapes, the color that's on top is the one that overpowers the other one. So even though pink was the tiny one, it was above, it was the newer color. And so it's the one that, if you want, won and painted the whole element, the whole shape. Okay, so now I'm going to undo. I have my two shapes again. And now I'm going to go over here to see what's the next choice. And the next choice is click to minus front. What did I just say about which one of these two elements is in front and which one is in the back? Which one is considered front here?
The pink one was in the front.
Yeah, which is why its color was
It's going to dominate.
dominated. But in this case, it's saying click to minus front. So if I click to minus front, front minused itself. So I cut out a little chunk, the shape of my front shape. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead and undo that again with a Control Command Z, and then maybe you can click away and move this over a little bit more until it's somewhere like that. And then you select both again, and then you say click to minus front, and you see how you make a different indentation. So I'm going to undo that again, but you can't move these until you deselect, grab this thing and move it. And now we'll create a little donut, okay, because we're going to select both again and then click to minus front. And you see how you can make different shapes with this click to minus front as long as you have one. I'm going to undo again. Okay, so do that. I want you to move this little one around until you can see the possibility of many different things that can happen with click to minus front. Select both, remember, click to minus front. Okay, now another thing you can do is, let's move it back to the original position. And I'm going to wait to make sure that everyone gets back to the original position. Now, have you tried these out, moving the little front element a few times?
Yes.
Right. Okay, if it didn't work for someone, please let me know. I'm seeing some people are just watching. Yes.
So I have a question on mine. When I guess I didn't combine them right because they turn into the same color.
If you select both and unite them, they do turn into the same color. Yeah. Okay.
So
because
select them individually or that way. Yeah.
Let me let Saul in, who had popped out, and he's back. So who was asking the question just now? I wasn't looking up. I'm sorry.
This is Joni.
Joni. Okay. So did you select two different colors and then hit unite and they turn the same color? If so, that's correct.
No, but I want to just be able to select them and then be able to unite, and properties, make them one. So
if
how did you get your grouping? Because maybe I didn't group it right.
Okay, so my grouping I just did by selecting a space. Okay, so I can either select one, hold down shift, select the other to get both, or I can drag from some neutral area with my mouse and drag in what I call cast a little net. And as long as I catch a little bit of each, I select both.
Okay, but when I do that and I click just go back.
Why don't you go ahead and share your screen with me? That way we.
Wrong. Okay, I will.
Let me stop That way I can help you. By the way, hi, Saul, I see that you've popped in again. I was actually saying, okay, Saul, show me your example, and that's when you weren't here.
Yeah,
So
I'm sorry, but I
no,
ran out of electricity. It went down.
yeah, no, I understand. Don't worry. Last time you also had issues with in and out. So next time I have after the break, we can show your shape. Okay, so Joni, show me what you're saying.
So if I click and then hold this, like shift and then hold this and get both of them.
Yeah.
But then when I go down here to the Pathfinder, they turn in the same color.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. When you create one shape, it cannot have two colors. Unite will always turn into one color, and it will be colored in the color of the one that was in front. We're not grouping yet. We're not grouping. You just did that. You united. That was unite. You did it with the Pathfinder.
Okay.
And it.
But they're still separate, aren't they?
Now they're separate. Now they're separate. So go back to the Pathfinder on the far right, where you were before, and click on that one. Now the one on the left is the unite. See, click on that, and that's the unite. And as you see, it leaves you with only one color, the color of the element that was in front, which was the little one. So now go ahead and undo that with a Command or Control Z. And now the next one that we were testing out, right next to it, was the minus front. So the front one, which is the little pink one, gets kind of chunked out.
Away. Right.
Okay. So now go ahead and do Command Z to undo. And you got both again. Now to move that little pink one around, you need to first deselect everything. So click away in some neutral place. Now go grab that pink one and put it in a separate spot. But over this one, we're always talking about joining elements right now. So you always want them to be touching. Maybe you put it in as a donut or something. And then select them both again.
And then could I just do that?
Yep. And now go in again, click to minus front. Well, that if you unite, it's going to take over. So now you undo and then click to minus front. It's going to disappear. And now Command Z to undo that again. So while we're at it, why don't we try the next one? The next one is click to intersect. So intersect means only the place where both of these intersect are going to end up together. And as you can see, since she had hers right on top, the intersection is basically the size of the little one. Now click away and move yours to one side. Yeah, and now select both again. And now click to intersect, and the intersection now is only that little chunk because that's the only part where the two were touching. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, so Command Z again to undo that. All right, and now try the last one. Select both again. And now the last one is the opposite of intersect. The intersection gets eaten out, and you end up with two shapes. Now click away. Notice that they still did have to take on one color. Click away. And now you can click on one and separate it. And they click away. Oh, it turned it into a group. Okay. It turned it into one shape. You could still separate them, but I haven't shown you how to do that yet. So it turned it into one shape where what's missing is the intersection. And that's why it turned into one color. Okay. So now you can Command Z. But you're going to have to Command Z a couple of times because you also moved it. So to undo the move, there we go. All right. So I want everyone to have done all of that she did, which is basically try one of each of all those options. And yes, whenever the shape ends up being one shape, it will take one color, which happened at the beginning with Unite, and it happened at the end with the final choice, which was the click to get rid of the intersection, exclude. That's the name of it. Okay.
Are we taking a break today?
Yes, we're going to take a break right now. The time is 3:20. Look at the shape. So yeah, the call for the break showed up on my phone a few minutes ago, but I was still dealing with, I like to leave things kind of ended. So before we take a break, first let's save this file. So let's go and say File, Save, and save or save as. When it's a new file, it doesn't matter. And we need to put it in wherever your class files are. So if you're on VDI, go to Google Drive. If you're not on VDI, go to wherever your files were left. And now let's head over to Google Drive. People go to My Drive.
Diana, can you share your screen?
Oh, thank you, Lisa. What would I do without you? There's always someone in class who is great about reminding me. I so appreciate. I was in Photoshop this morning and I kept talking and no one was warning me that I wasn't sharing. So thank you. File, save or save as, since this file hasn't no name yet, they operate the same way because when you do save, it pulls up the save as window. Here on the left side for VDI, we're going to hit Google Drive. For the rest of you guys, go choose whatever part you're saving your files in. Head over to My Drive, double click on My Drive. And then I believe we had already created a folder called Illustrator Class Files Summer. So if you didn't create it because maybe you weren't here last week, then go ahead and create it. Once you go into My Drive, please click on New Folder. And for you guys, wherever you're saving your files, go ahead and create a new folder for just putting in the class files or the class work or whatever you're doing. And then open it up. And then over here, we're going to put this one and we're going to call this one. That's just mainly, it's not groups and Pathfinder is what we're doing with this one. And then say save. And this save, this is that window, Vera, that you were wondering about. See how it shows up automatically every time you save it. The only thing I wanted to share and show you though, most of the times you just say, okay, and that's it. If you happen to have 5 different artboards that you want to turn them into 5 individual files, you could click and say, save each artboard to a separate file, and then you'd end up with 5 files. I don't recommend doing that, but I'm just saying that's the only thing that sometimes is necessary, but not in this case. We're going to say, okay. And now that it's been saved, we can take our break. When we have a minute, I don't necessarily need much of a break. Saul, if you want to share your file with me, I can review it with you and see what of that might be worth to bringing into class when people come back. So do you need to take a break or do you have a minute?
No, I think I can do it. Let me see if I can open it because I'm on Chromebook now.
Oh, you might not be able to do it. Okay, so I'm going to stop my share and let me tell you guys what time to come back. It is 3:23. Be back in 15 minutes, which means I'm never good at this. 15 minutes, 10 more would be 25, plus 5 would be 30. So 28. So 3:38. No, I did it wrong. Time for break. That was my break calling me. 25. So 3:40. Is that 15 minutes? Yeah, that's 15 minutes. 3:40 p.m. All right. I'm going to mute everyone who's in the background. And let's see if Saul, if you have the files with you, and if not, that's okay. You can do it another day or you can send me the file. So I muted you, Saul, because I muted everyone. So if you're speaking, I can't hear you. Can you turn mute yourself?
I'm trying to open it up, but it looks like got corrupt because I open it on Chromebook now. And while I was at home, I was on the desktop. So doesn't allow me to open it up. So I'm thinking how to do it again. Maybe go file open and go straight to the
Chromebook doesn't have Illustrator. Are you on VDI?
DVI, yes.
And you had your file on your desktop of your home computer, but not on the VDI though.
That's correct.
So did you put it in your Google Drive?
I'm pretty sure that it's on the Google Drive. Let me check it out. Hopefully I can.
Okay. Go ahead and let me know. If you can do it, fine. Let me know. If not, we can just do it next week. Don't worry.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay. I'll be around. I'm gonna mute myself. Be on video, but I'll listen in case you call my name. Okay.
Hi, Diana, I'm here. I did it. It's open.
Okay, go ahead and share your screen with me. All right, so if you can share your screen, we can see it.
On Chromebook, it needs to be the desktop or the application?
The application.
There we go.
Good question. Yeah, it's a bit different.
There we go, it's there.
Okay, perfect. Let me move it over here. Make a little bit bigger. Okay. So yeah, you said you wanted to show me what you said you couldn't mix them or something. Notice that it came in a little bit.
Actually, this is the original. The other one, I did a few changes.
Yeah.
And this is the original. I don't know if you see Mixteco.
Yeah, I see Mixteco.org down there, and I see Mixteco Indígena arriba. Okay.
So I don't know how to put this one on the same line of the Mixteco Indígena.
Okay. So you first need to try to select it, which I believe is layer 21. You look over there, it's layer 21. So you need to unlock layer 21. I went down at the bottom, something says layer 21. I think that's the right one. It's the fourth one up.
You know, on Chromebook, you barely see the numbers.
I know, it's so hard. But there, you unlocked it. So now go select that by clicking on the little circle next to the word layer 21.
There we go, right there.
Okay, and now, oh, okay. So you're gonna have to, yeah, because if you bring this one down just by moving it, it's not gonna probably work. Go ahead and move it down.
The circle?
Yeah, just drag it down. And it's not gonna follow. Go click on the letter C for Mixteco. You can't do it from there. You have to go and click on the text. Go click on one of the letters on the word mixteco.org. Vete ahí y pone tu mouse sobre ahí. Y ahora muévelo a donde pensabas ponerlo, abajo.
Aquí abajo, pero como el
sí,
círculo.
pero claro, como el círculo es diferente, ¿ves? No funciona. Entonces lo que tenés que hacer es tenés que usar el mismo círculo que tenías para el Mixteco Indígena Computer Game Project y invertir el texto para que siga el mismo círculo.
Okay, so then I'm gonna delete that one porque no lo necesito.
Ok, ahora elegite Mixteca Indígena Community, ese. elegite ese, donde lo tengas, ok, elegite ese, ok, hacete un copy y luego hacete un paste in place. Vete arriba a edit y haz un...
Como no tengo mouse, that's another thing.
Ay, es más difícil.
How can I do control C, control V?
Bueno, entonces the control, andate arriba a edit y decir edit copy. Edit copy. Ok.
Edit copy, what is it? It's two
Es uno arriba. Edit uno arriba. Copy. Ahí, uno abajo. Copy. Ahí, copy.
Okay.
Perfecto. Y ahora vuelta a edit de vuelta. Y ahora eliges paste in place.
O paste in front, ¿no?
No, paste in place.
Okay. There we go.
Ok. Tenés dos idénticos. Ahora, lo que pasa es que lo que tenemos que hacer, no sé si va a poder hacerse bien con sin el mouse, pero bueno, vamos a probar.
I close one para no confundirnos, ¿cómo ves? ¿Está bien o no?
Sí, está bien. Ponele el lock en uno, pero ahora elegite el próximo. Lo que tenés que aprender a elegir, a seleccionar, a veces ese circulito a la derecha del layer. Ahí está. Ahora, elegí el texto, ponete tu mano, ponete el tool de texto, ¿sí? Y ahora hacete un triple clic pone tu mouse en cualquiera de las palabras y hacete un triple clic. 3, 1, 2, 3 para que elija todo el texto. En lugar de 2. Ahí está. Y ahora escribí mixteco.org. Ok, muy bien. Ahora, lo que viene lo siguiente va a ser un poco más complicado. Volvete a la flecha negra de arriba. Ok. Y ahora, fíjate que adelante de la palabra M de mixteco, hay como sí, enfrente de la M hay como una línea con un rombo blanco. No, la línea justo enfrente de la M. Hay como una línea. Y esa, perfecta. Esa línea, andate más cerca de la línea. En el medio de la M. Esa raya.
I don't see it.
Ahí. A ver, ¿dónde tengo tu mouse? No veo tu mouse.
Sí, it's too small.
Tu mouse desapareció. No veo tu mouse. Estoy tratando de que vayas a elegir. Ahí está, ahí apareció un poquito tu mouse. A ver.
Close that thing para que no nos hagamos bolas.
Bueno.
Is right there?
Sí, ahora toca esa raya, esa línea que está enfrente de la M. O sea, justo debajo de la M hay una raya. Esa no, eso es una esquina. Movete a donde está la M. A esa, hay como una línea roja que atraviesa.
Entre el medio de las dos líneas, ¿verdad? Con un triángulo en medio.
Esa.
Okay,
a ver si hablamos del mismo triángulo o no.
Ahí estamos en el mismo lugar.
Apuntada a la M, apuntada a la letra M. La letra M. Poné tu mouse sobre la letra M.
Ahí está.
Es que yo acá no veo que estás apuntando en la misma cosa. Tu mouse desaparece cuando apuntas a la letra M. Bueno, qué raro. Ahí.
Cuando seleccionas esa línea te sale...
No quiero esa línea, no quiero esa línea.
Okay.
A ver si me permite pedirte, no me deja, en un Chromebook no puedo tomar yo el mouse. Necesitas tocar esa letra que te lo muestro yo. Mira, ¿sabes qué voy a tener que hacer? Te lo voy a mostrar yo porque si no voy a stop to share, sí, y voy a hacer acá un círculo con texto y te voy a mostrar a lo que me estoy refiriendo porque no sé cómo. Déjame que haga un share de mi screen primero.
¿De qué parte de Argentina?
Yo de Buenos Aires.
Buenos Aires.
Okay.
Exactamente de donde es el Papa, ¿verdad?
Sí. Sí, del mismo lugar. Ok, entonces ahí pongo un texto, ¿no? Entonces voy a poner un texto acá perdón, al revés.
Mhm.
Mixteco.org. ¿Ok? So, imagínate que esta es. Entonces, estas son las líneas. Me voy a acercar un poquito más para que veas mejor.
Okay.
Estas líneas que están aquí son las que me refería. Esta tú la tienes, esta misma usted la tiene ya bien alejada. La tienes del otro lado, así donde termina el otro texto, esa ya la tienes. Pero esta te queda ahí enfrente de la M. Yo quería que agarras esta y al agarrar esta, moves así el texto a donde lo quieras mover. Yo quería que lo movieras hacia abajo, pero lo estoy moviendo agarrando esta línea, ¿ves? Así. Entonces lo podés mover a donde tiene que venir el texto. Ahora, el problema va a ser si esta línea está acá y la tratás de mover así, no va a funcionar, ¿ves? Pero la última la tienes usted la tiene más alta ya. Entonces está bien. Puedes hacer así y ponerlo abajo. Y luego, en el lado opuesto vas a ver esta línea y la metes así para adentro y tu texto se va a, dar vuelta. ¿Eh? Se va a terminar así dando vuelta. Y cuando dejas, ya vas a tener el texto upside down, ¿ok? En la misma línea. Entonces, a ver si puedes hacer to share de vuelta y probemos. Entonces, de vuelta para fijarte, esta línea que te la que la agarras y la pones para abajo o para adentro, está siempre del lado opuesto, ¿ok? De tu texto. ¿Ok? Bueno, a ver qué hora es, porque son 37, pronto tenemos que dejarlo otro. A ver, stop my share me el tuyo de vuelta. Muy bien, a ver, entonces, perfecto, ahí lo estás moviendo, perfecto, ahora tienes que ponerlo boca abajo, todo, dando todo, pero mira, muévelo para este lado en lugar de para el lado que lo estás moviendo, agárralo y muévelo de vuelta, pero hacia la otra, claro, agárralo y que quede boca abajo, perfecto, no te pases, perfecto, ahora, te vas, una vez que sueltas la mano, ahora te vas a la esquina esa línea, agarra esa línea y métela hacia adentro. Ahí ves que se te dio vuelta la palabra, perfecto. Y ahora la puedes, y ahora puedes agarrar, esta parte es un poco más complicada. Vete de vuelta y de meterla, no, ahí estás achicándola. Hacete un command Z.
Ahora sí.
Hacer un undo. Ahí no te quedó del mismo tamaño, ¿no? ¿O sí?
There we go. Ahí está. Let me return the page. Abajo.
Se te pasó. Ahí está. Muy bien. Y ahora tienes que agarrar esa larga y agarrarla, hacer un clic y meterla hacia adentro. Perfecto. Ahí se te hizo upside down. Soltar el de mouse. Ahí está.
Entonces aquí ya nomás le doy el círculo, ¿verdad?
Claro. Ok. Y ahora este círculo, sí. Me parece que tenés que esperar a hacerlo en tu computadora y no en el Chromebook, pero estás...
But this is a good practice. Así ahorita llega mi desktop de mi casa, va a ser más fácil.
Exacto. Bueno, ya es hora de aceptar a todos los demás, así que bueno, ya viste más o menos cómo viene la mano y mostrarme después el resultado.
Ok, gracias.
Okay. All right, guys. Back to English. It's 3:39. We have one more minute break, so I'm calling everyone back. Come on back, everyone. Come on back. Give me a little raised hand or a raised thumb or something when you're here, especially if I don't see you, so that I know that you're around. Okay, I'm going to, Saul, I'm going to mute you because there's a lot of noises in the background. I'm having All right, so I was giving him a hand with something. I'm gonna drop that stuff that you guys will learn a little bit later, but he was working on. So anyway, back to the groups and Pathfinder file. Okay, is everyone back? Yeah, I'm seeing lots of yeses, lots of faces. All right. So we have tested all the different pathfinders here that come in automatically, which are these 4. Just so you know, there's a different way to use these, which is called creating a compound shape. So here all we did was we just clicked and we created one shape, right? Remember that? So this is just reviewing.
Please
So
show the screen.
oh, thank you. Where's Lisa? Thank you so much, my son. Where's my brain today? Usually I remember more. Somehow today I keep forgetting to share. All right. So back to I love that you guys take over for each other. One forgets, the other one remembers. So here's my screen, and I was showing that when I hover over here and click to unite, as we saw before, so you don't need to do it, just to review, we end up with one shape. I'm going to undo that. Now, notice that if I hover over this choice, before I click, it says click to unite, alt click to create a compound shape. And if you're in a Mac, it would say option click to create a compound shape. So what that means is I'm going to hold down the option or alt key, depending if you're in a Mac or in a PC. And now I'm going to click. And now it might seem like it's not very different, but it is, in that we created one shape. If I click away, it looks like one shape. It totally looks like one shape still. But if I selected the 2, it's like the skeleton of the 2 original shapes is still there, which means that I can still go in and treat this as if they were separate shapes. Now, notice that it did take on one color. To all outward appearances, it is only one shape. And in fact, if I have a stroke, the stroke has this, I do have a stroke here. It has disappeared. It is only one shape, but the skeleton or the path is still there. Now, why does that matter? Because if I now go and change to my white arrow tool, the direct selection tool, not the lasso tool that I have here, need to click and hold and grab the direct selection tool again. Then I can still go in and single click this shape and modify it as if the shape was not a single shape. When I click away and let go, I have still one united shape, but the structure is that of 2 shapes. Okay. So once again, I click and I can modify and do stuff to this internal one, which in the end turns out to look as if it's a separate shape, but it is still operating as one shape. That's the compound path. Okay. A path that is still looks like one object, but is actually 2. It's, as I said, it's kind of like I can see the skeleton. I'm going to Command and Control Z a few times so that we can go back to where everyone else was, which was these 2. And let's try that. Let's try that all together. I'll select both shapes. And instead of just uniting them, I'm going to hold down the Option and Alt first. And then I'm going to unite. Then I'm going to click. And at this point, your 2 shapes should have changed to the one color, okay? But when you select the shape, you should see still the paths of the 2 shapes. If that's working, now this is a compound shape, but also a group. If I go up to Object, you can still group it, but you don't need to, because in a way, what's happening is working as a group, because if I move it, it moves as if it were one piece. You don't have to group these. They have been united already. It is one shape. Okay. Now, how do I modify this? Since it's one bounding box, if I modify this bounding box, this is going to modify everything at the same type, and that's not what I want. So to modify the internal parts, I need to switch to the white selection tool. the A, the white direct selection tool. It might be that for some of you it's hiding because we had to use the lasso tool last. If so, click and hold the lasso tool and go back to the first one, the direct selection key. Now remember this direct selection key, you need to first click on it, on an element to separate it from the rest. And then you can click on it again to play with it. So it's 2 clicks, okay, before it separates itself from the rest, and you can do then whatever you want with it. And you can immediately see how you can begin creating with just 2 simple shapes. As long as they're compound shapes, you can begin to have some fun with it. And I'm imagining a little kind of wisp of hair, or if I had it on the side, it could be a bizarre nose, right? And stuff like that that could be happening to this shape. I'm going to move it down here, and suddenly it's a face with a strange nose. When I click away, there it is. Okay. I want everyone to show me. Now, if I push it outside, then it's kind of bizarre because now it's 2 shapes, and you know, it kind of lost that out. It kind of lost that compound shapeness. It just happens to have the same color, but I have but it doesn't have, you know, it's kind of weird because you try to change the color of only one because you think it's one shape, but you can't. They both change because although they are separate, they are still a compound shape. Okay, so just when you do this, try to not separate the 2 pieces because the whole point is that they're trying to be one piece. Gustavo, you have a question?
Diana, no me funcionó.
¿Cómo?
No me funcionó.
The compound shape, ¿no te funcionó?
Sí. ¿Puedo compartir?
Okay. The Chromebook tiene un Alt or Option key o no?
Sí.
Tiene. Okay. So let me undo. I need to undo a bunch of times. Here we go. So you have to select both to make sure both are selected first. And then before you click here, hold down your Alt or Option key. Once it's held down, do the little click. Si no te funciona ahí con eso, puedo hacer que me hagas un share de tu screen.
Okay.
¿Te funcionó ahora o no?
No.
No? Okay, I'm going to stop my share. Go ahead and share your screen. Anyone else for whom the compound path didn't work? Let me know.
Ya quedó, Diana.
Ahí
Gracias.
funcionó? Okay, there it worked. All right. Anyone else who needs a hand with the compound path? Did it work for you? I'm going to clear your feedback and give me a yes if your compound path worked, no if it didn't work, or if you need a hand or you have a comment or a question or something and you want to speak.
Could you do that trick one more time?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So basically it's just hold down the Option key or the Alt key if you're in a Mac or on a PC right before you actually click on the Unite button. Make sure it's held down and then click the Unite button. So I first hold down the Option Alt key, which I can't show you, but I'm doing it. And then I single click on that. I don't know who spoke, by the way, because I didn't see it. I wasn't looking up at the path. So who was it that asked me?
It was me. It was Linda. Yeah, it worked.
Oh, Linda, there you go. Okay, yay. No, you're welcome. Okay, so now I'm going to Control Z and undo that, which by now you guys have been playing around a bit, so it might take a little bit more to undo that, but just watch the rest because basically what I'm going to do next is exactly the same. I can also do a Control Option and click to the for example here to the compound. I'm going to go to this exclude.
Yeah, we did.
Share my screen. Share my screen. Oh my goodness, this is every single time. I'm about to like slap myself a bit. Yeah, remember to share. All right, so I'm just going to do the same thing now, holding out the Option key, but I'm going to use another one of these. I'm going to use, for example, the intersect. So I click on the intersect, right? So now when I click away, I only have this little shape, right? Which before, that's all I had. Let me undo that. Let me first show you, remember the intersect. If I do intersect, This is it. I'm left with just this little shape normally. But this time, by doing intersect while I hold the Alt or Option key, then I get that same little shape, but I still have those elements that surround it. So if I click away and look at it, it just looks like that little shape. But the moment I select it to move it around, it comes along with these originating circles. Now, again, why would that be important to me? Well, only if I decide I want to change the shape of that element. Maybe I would rather make it be a different shape. So I can go ahead here and select my selection tool, right? The direct selection tool, and then decide again that I would rather have this be a smaller shape or a bigger shape or whatever it is that I'm trying to do. So then I can modify it after the fact. There's a couple of other reasons to use compound shapes, but right now that would be the best example. So I can still be modifying all of this. And then when I let go, that's my new shape that if I click is now created out of having messed around with those. Okay. Now, it's also possible to talk about a different thing that I'm showing you here, which is isolation mode that I haven't taught you yet. So I will teach you that before the end of today. I'll show you a bit more about isolation modes. But right now, that's the main thing. I'm going to Control Z, Control Z, Control Z to go back to my original two shapes. There we go. To undo everything. But anyway, so that's how you get a quick compound shape, okay? By clicking, and I'm gonna tell you now, when do you want a compound shape? I'll show you now. Right now, I just told you about a compound shape, and there's like, okay, but I'm not sure why I would want it. So I'm gonna show you that in a minute. But I do want to show you one more thing, which is down here are the four main options of the Pathfinder. But if I click on these little three dots, it gives me always more options. So there's the basic four shapes, which I already had here, and then it shows you a couple of other options. These are more complicated and much more intricate. I'm gonna let you explore them for now on your own. I don't want to show you that right now, but just so you know, these are the four that matter. These are some other options. If I have a bit of time, I'll show them to you later. But just so you know, whenever you want more than the basics, more than these basic aligns, you can click on this option. More than the basic features there, you click on that, you get more appearance features, etc. Okay, so just these little dots means more than the basic stuff. All right. The reason I want us to go back to these two, so go ahead and do Command Z until you get back to this. Or you know what? I don't want to keep undoing everything we've done. And I do remember that I had given you 3 pages on this, 3 artboards. So let's go ahead and go back to this original. Okay. And now I want us to copy this here and here. And then we're going to leave a compound shape here. And then we're going to do a couple of other things in the others too. So what's the quickest way to copy in Illustrator? You could copy paste if you know the shortcuts, Command C, Command V, but there's an even faster way. Selecting both, select both like we did have, and then hold down your Alt or Option key, the same one that we just clicked, and then click and drag. And then you've made a copy. And then click and drag again, and you've made another copy. Okay, so I'm going to undo that again to show you what I did. Select your cut, hold down the Option key. You get a little double-headed arrow kind of thing, and then you can just drag out, and that gives you a copy, and then you drag out, and that gives you another copy. This, by the way, is a shortcut that applies to both Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, all these programs. And you hold down the command, gives you a quick copy. Premiere, just about everything that you do in all of the Adobe programs. That's a shortcut for quick copies. All right, does everyone have 3 of these shapes? I'm going to select the first ones and go ahead and do one of these alt clicks. I'll just do right now the compound, the exclusion one. There you go, just to show something different. And then on this other one here, we're good, because then when you do a screenshot, you can screenshot a bit of everything. On this next one, I want to zoom into it to work. So I'm going to select one so that when I do Control+++, it zooms straight into that one. Okay. Let's go to the second page. And now I'm going to show you a different way to do this. Same thing that I just showed you, but with a different tool, which sometimes comes much more in handy. So I'm going to clear your feedback because that way I'm clear when you need help. And we're going to select both shapes again. Remember, this is all about joining shapes. So selecting both of them is important. Actually, let's make this a little bit more complicated. Let's add a third shape here, just so that you have a bit more meat to work with. Let's make a rectangle now. And let's change its color. I'm going to change it to green. Okay, and now I'm going to make a green rectangle on top of this. Like that. Okay, so again, the exact position of it doesn't matter. It's just 3 overlapping shapes. Cool. Thank you for letting me know, Joanne. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, so go ahead and you have all 3 shapes, you guys. The reason I ask you to have 3 colors is because of the effects of what happens when you unite them, right? Just so that you all can see what happens when you unite or intersect and all those kind of stuff to the colors. All right, so now what we want to do to these shapes applies to all 3. So now I have to select all 3 shapes, right? So remember, whatever shapes that you're trying to join, they all need to be together. So now, just to review what I said before, if I unite these doing the same thing that we did before, what color will this group take?
Probably the green one, because that was last added.
Yeah, because even though I don't see the green on top of the pink, I know it's the last one I added. So when I click unite, it's going to take the color of that topmost one. Okay, so I'm going to undo that. And if I go to the layers, you can open up this little triangle and you'll see that the rectangle, the green one, is right now the one that's on top of them all. And remember, I told you that the compound paths kind of create a group. So here you go. This one, as you can see, the one that I did here in this first has turned into a compound path and has turned into a group. That I didn't create a group with it, but in the end, it did make itself into a group. All right. The rest are all individual pieces. Okay. So here I am back at this shape, back to the properties. I'm going to show you, instead of using this, there's a tool that makes things sometimes a little bit easier, a little bit handier, because when you're deep into the muck of working, sometimes it's hard to come all out here and use this tool. So this other tool is a really handy tool, and it's called the Shape Builder tool. The shortcut to pick it up is Shift M, but I have to admit, I always forget that shortcut. So I always come get this one from here. I don't know why I forget that one, but it just doesn't enter my consciousness very well. So Shift M. Okay, so let's go and click on the Shape Builder tool. The moment I click on the Shape Builder tool, notice that I lost my bounding box. Whereas before, I'm going to show you again with the V tool, I had my bounding box holding them. I need to have everything selected. You can't click on that tool before you have everything selected or nothing will happen. You first have to have everything selected and then click on this tool. And now watch what's going to happen. Just watch first. Don't do it. Look what happens when I move my mouse on top of the, I'm doing nothing but moving my mouse. I'm not clicking, I'm not dragging, I am moving my mouse across. But this tool is already recognizing that not only is the original shape in existence, but even each little bit or piece of the shape is a different portion of it. Does that make sense? So now, if I want to do the same thing as unite with this tool, all I need to do is put my mouse here, click and drag a line across all of these. I'm just clicking and dragging, and when I let go, I have done the same thing as before. I have united them. So I'm going to undo that, Control Z again, and all I've done is wherever I start, I'm going to click and drag and make a line that touches one of each of the little parts and pieces, and that gives me a complete shape. Okay, did that work for everyone? Yeah. If it didn't work, say no. Other than that, we're gonna keep going. Okay, so now Control Z. Now, what if instead of uniting everything, what if I now watch what's going to happen? What if I only unite the two green parts? You'd say, but wait, the green is already united. I mean, it is one green piece, but watch. If I unite these two green parts, I'm really uniting the two green parts plus that little chunk of orange that's underneath this green part. It got united as well. And I'm also going to go ahead and unite the two pink parts. So at first it looks the same, but now I'm going to move to my V and click away on my V tool, and look what happened. In reality, I joined the bottom piece to that and the bottom piece of this to that. So I have kind of created little chunks out of my shape just by going over the same exact shapes that I had. Does that make sense, you guys? I'm joining that piece and that piece of the green together with that piece of the orange. And in this case, the two pieces of pink together, that piece of the orange. So once you disconnect by clicking away, you discover that you have created a shape that has little bits eaten out of it. Okay, just with that pathfinder. So this is beginning to give you, and this is a giveaway, but as much as these are easy to use, remember I clicked on these and I said these are a bit more complicated to use. These here are a bit more complicated to use from there, but it's this effect that I'm doing right now with this shape builder tool. It's this effect of cutting chunks out, only it's easier with the tool right here on the side. That's why I'm having you do it with this. Let's drag down to the one that's in the bottom here, this bottommost one. Let me create again another shape to add or delete from here, just because I hadn't created one here. And now let's select all these three again. And now watch for a minute. I'm going to choose the shape builder tool again. Okay. And this time, what I'm going to do is, instead of uniting things, I'm going to subtract things. So to subtract things, what I'm going to do, see how right now next to my arrow, I have a plus sign. That means that I was in uniting mode. It's just what I just did. But if I hold down my Option or Alt key, see how that little plus sign turns into a minus? You see next to my mouse that now I have a minus sign. So now this is going to get rid of stuff. So I'm going to hold this mouse down, my finger down on the Option Alt key to keep it on minus mode. And now watch. I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, I don't want this little bit. I took it away. And I don't want this little bit. I took it away. Okay, so I've made two holes. Or I could even say I don't want this either and take that away too, right? I'm going to leave that one there. So with this one, I'm going to Command Z, and I'm going to hold down this again. And now I'm going to say what I don't want is this. And I took it away. Or Command Z, what I don't want is this and that. And then I have that. Okay, so you get to choose what you do or not want. When you let go of the Option key, now you have this other shape. And if I were to click away, now I'm left with this plus this. But I have not taken away the bottom part of this orange. So if I do this, that bottom part of this orange is still there, because I never said minus to that portion. Okay, so anyway, it takes a little bit of getting used to. It's just a matter of practice and thinking it through and deciding what's going to work. But so say I want to make a donut, right? I can put the circle inside of here, right? And then I can select both of these, go to this tool, and I could either say minus front, or I can hold down the Option key and drag a little circle around that, and I get my little donut. So that's equivalent to the minus front. Does that make sense, you guys? How you can work with shapes? Now, yeah, kind of magical, right? Now I'm going to Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z to get rid of these. And now I've got all my original shapes again. What I'm going to do, one that's pretty cool, instead of putting in a circle, I'm going to make a star. So I'm going to go back in here and grab the star tool that we used last week, make a little star over here, right? And then I'm going to select both. And then I'm going to go ahead and choose my shape builder and maybe say, you know, minus to the star. So then that's, you know, one way to create a little logo. I'm going to undo and I'm going to say, what if I move this star over to the corner and then I select both shapes and then I say Option Z and I get rid of these two. So then I've created that shape. Control Z, only get rid of this little bit. And then I have that shape with a little crown, right? So anyway, as you can see, it can get pretty intense. The more shapes you have, the more options you play around with. You can have some fun. Now, on a very practical level, I'm thinking of this little bird here again. All these little birds that have these little wings, right? Remember, we began by showing you these birds. How would you create this shape or that wing? It's very hard to create a circle with two straight lines. So let's say that if we wanted to create that shape, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this star, and I'm going to create an oval shape, kind of like that. And then I'm going to create a rectangle. Okay. So I'm going to create a rectangle, and now it doesn't, you know, just for ease of sake, I'm going to change its color, but you don't need to change its color. It can have the same color, but it's easier to show. And then I can move this one a little bit, move this rectangle around until I look at this area. If this is going to be a wing, I look at it and I look at these wings that we've created here and notice that some of these wings are kind of like that. They have a longer shape. It's not a perfect circle, or like that, or this one is more of a perfect circle, or the belly of this bird. You know, think about it. What's the belly of this bird? Is a little intersection of two shapes, right? Or these little eyeballs. These were intersections of a shape with another shape cut out. So now I'm going to make a wing. I'm going to go over here. Over here. And I'm going to decide that I want this oval to have more of a sharper ending. There we go. So I'm going to have a little wing that's going to go like that. Or no, actually, maybe it's going to be more like that. So I can move with the white arrow key. I can move my anchor points, right? Then I select both pieces and I go over here and I say minus all of this stuff, and boom. Now there's my little wing piece. Does that make sense, you guys? And this little wing piece, if I were to now copy it and paste it over here where I have these birdies, yeah, it could probably fit really well. It could probably become one of these wings. See, it's a little asymmetrical circle, but that sharp cut was made by getting rid of a big chunk of it. Okay, so now what I want us all to do is to make a little bird wing. Then we're going to go and try to start replicating other parts of these birds and see if we all can put together a little bird with these things, these tools that I've taught you today. So first of all, in this document that had 3 artboards, I want us to create another artboard. Okay, so we're going to create our shapes and then we're going to start putting the bird together over here. So head over to the selection tool and then I'll show you these step by step. Okay, right now I just kind of showed you what I want us to do, and now I'll begin to walk you step by step through it. So First of all, let's go to the selection tool. Make sure you don't have anything in particular selected because then the artboard stuff doesn't show. So click to deselect anything, click away. And now you have your edit your artboard. So click on edit artboards. And over here, let's add a couple of artboards. Okay, so right now we have 3 artboards. Let's click on plus to make one more, maybe 4. You might need some more artboards to create your birds. And I've just created 2 more, should be enough. And then exit. By the way, at this point, if you guys want to do a screenshot of the above work first, so that later you can post it, and then we're going to grab another screenshot maybe of whatever birds we come up with, okay? That would be a good idea. I want you guys to go to your original exporting one, choose one of the words that you want to imitate, copy it, and bring it over and let's paste it. So some of them are a bit more complicated. Some are straighter lines. Some are a little bit more organic lines like this one. Maybe this toucan. So choose one depending on your ability. If you want a simpler one or a less simple one. And let's go for it. So I'm going to go for, I don't know, which one should I choose? I'm going to go for this little singing birdie right there. I'm going to copy that one. Copy. So Command C or Control C. And then I'm going to go over here to the groups and Pyfinder path and I'm going to paste it. Command V or Control V. So I'm going to put it over here as a little goal. Okay. You guys can choose whichever bird you want as your goal. I just grabbed this one just to have something to start with. Okay, so then when I make my shapes, I'll be looking at trying to imitate. It doesn't need to be exact. Okay, you can have your own version of this bird, but at least it gives me an idea of the kind of shapes I need to go for. Okay, so now I have a wing here that doesn't necessarily fit with the wing of this one, but it kind of works. But I'm going to undo it because I want to have us create a wing together. So I'm going to go back to my circle and I'm going to start with a circle, right? So just about all of us have at least one, no matter which bird you got, all of us have at least, the wing is very similar in all of them, except for maybe this one, that is very, very geometric. So maybe don't choose this one for now, choose any of the others, or choose this one, but make the wing happen just to practice how to make these wings. So make a circle. Okay. And then make a rectangle. So this is the wing that I'm going to make. So I'm going to make my rectangle first. Again, I'm only going to give it another color just so that it becomes easier to see that it's what I'm going to get rid of. And then it's going to have a little bit of an angle. So with the selection tool set up, I can go, remember, to the corner here and maybe give it a little angle because it's going to be a bit of an angled line. And I'm going to have to get rid of quite a bit of it. And then I look at this and I think, it's not such a fatty wing. It's more of a skinny wing. So I'm going to move this one out. And, you know, try your, again, it doesn't have to be a perfect imitation. It just needs to be kind of the bird that you chose. So there you go. I think now that this piece that's orange is probably going to be similar to that piece. I don't know if I'm right. Maybe it's a bit more oval. I'm going to make it a little bit fatter. I think that might be a bit more accurate to the angle and what it has to be. And then when I think I've got it, I can select both pieces. And then I can choose either to say minus front over here. That would work too. I can click minus front and that got me that wing, or I can say Command Z and I can grab the shape builder tool and I can hold down the option key and then just drag it across all this stuff. That's the same as doing minus front and I end up with this. So one way or another, I ended up with the wing-ish of the bird. And let me make him a whole different color so that it's clear which one is my bird and which one is that bird. So I'm going to make my bird be greenish. So this is going to be that wing. Okay, so I'm going to make it a little bit, make it bigger. That's going to be that wing. All right, before I continue with other parts, I'm gonna, right now, I'm gonna, with what we just did, we can make these three little parts of my bird. I don't know if you guys, your birds have bellies and little moon kind of eyes, but basically with the same theory, I can click and create a circle and another circle on top. And I can then kind of create this little eyeball kind of thing by getting rid of these two pieces. And it's not the same shape, but it kind of is that shape. I'm going to move it over there, ready to be the bird's eye when it's ready to have the bird's eye. And then I'm going to make that by intersecting two circles. So I'm going to do this, and then after this, I'm just going to go help people. So I'm going to intersect two circles. And when I select these two circles, I'm going to get rid of this piece and this piece. And that's kind of giving me this little belly that I'm going to have for the bird later on. I think I need to make it a bit wider. Maybe I need to change my intersection, but that later will be that little belly. Okay. So here I'm beginning to assemble my parts. Okay, I'm going to stop, but with that, I'm going to start offering some help. So how are you guys doing? Are you beginning to make your little bird parts? And if this is completely like, I have no idea what you're talking about, then I can help you. These you can make just with a straight line pen tool that we did last week. This I can show you later how to make. That's a basic little oval down there. What might be a little bit more complicated is if you chose one of these that have this kind of little shape like that. So you can do that with the arrow tool, with the shape tool. So, all right. I'm open to requests and calls for help or support, or if you're just busy working, then go for it. Busily work. And if you're busy working, then I'm going to keep working on mine. Looks like you guys seem to got it, to have it. Create. Don't forget that like right now I'm creating the body of the bird, but I've already created the wing. So when I try to put the wing on top, it ended up underneath. So I'm going to go to my layers and I'm going to grab the body. I'm going to drag it to the bottom because I know that it's always going to be underneath the rest of the bird, right? So you play with the layers to make your shapes have, oh, and I'm noticing that my layers, my shapes are all coming out with strokes and these birds don't have a stroke. So I'm going to just cancel the stroke on all of them. All of the pieces. All right, so here's my wing. Here's the little eyeball. Whoops. my ball. I need to do it again. It's not the same. It's cute enough for me. I'm going to choose to make my little beak with the pen tool because it's the one that's easy to make sharp lines with. So I'm going to go ahead and try that out. So the beak's going to be this big. Kind of works. Do the same with this tail. Okay. This is why this wing is much bigger than proportionally than the rest of the bird is. So I keep working until you guys need a hand or ask me a question. So please. Tail got kind of small. Don't forget to save every now and then. And then if you've got one of the birds that has one of these non-geometric kind of little crests or symbols, you might want to draw them out with your curvature tool and give that a try. So I'm gonna get no color, but add a stroke at first so that I can see my shape. The bird is running out of space. So I've made one little crest thing, and then I'm just going to modify the shape of this one. I'll have to do it again and hope that it kind of works for the next one. By copying it, putting it in there. And then I'm going to copy this one also with the Option Alt, drag.
Diana.
And move it here. Yeah.
Hide.
Yeah. This
is Lisa. I did something that I have no idea because I didn't notice it at first because I was in just one section and I ended up hitting Control Z so much that I've erased so much of my work.
Oh no.
And I figured it's better
So
just to show you to tell me what it is that before I erase absolutely everything.
All right. But if you want to back go forward again in case you didn't want to erase so much, the undo is Control Z. Shift Control Z brings you back in case you got erased too much. But I don't think that's your question. I think that's
but I did do too much. But I want to just share my screen so I can show you because I'm really curious what
cool. So
what
let
it
me
is.
let me stop my share. By the way, I still have to move my crest, but I'm kind of almost done with mine.
Yeah, he looks good. Your bird looks good.
Stop my share. All right, share your screen. I'm going to help people with also shapes that are not part of my bird, but you know, those that are a little bit different. So go ahead and share your screen. I don't see it.
Yeah, it's just taking a second. So it's not responding.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had it take so long to respond. I just get little blue circles circling.
Well, that's interesting. Now, did you hit the second, did you go and hit the second share button? It's two share buttons.
Yeah. And that when I hit the second one is when I'm getting this little, it's like frozen.
That's interesting. Why don't you back off and try again? Back off and try again.
It says my Zoom meeting is not responding. Now my whole screen is like white.
Are you on your own? Are you on VDI or on your own?
No, I'm on my own.
So do you have many other applications open? You might want to go and close a bunch of other applications. Are you on a Mac or on a PC?
Really weird. Like I can't do anything now. I think I'm gonna have to close.
Well, hold on. First, close a bunch of other applications because that might take the strain off first. So first try to exit, if you can, exit the share. Like click the little red button on the share. But if you're completely frozen and even that isn't working, then yeah, go and first try to close other programs. And if worst case scenario, then drop out of the Zoom, close your programs and then open Zoom again and I'll let you in and then you'll try to share again. There, she's entered again. Okay.
Okay, while she's looking, can I ask you a question?
Yes, of course.
I have a hard time really deciding which shape I'm working on when I'm looking at the layers. I wanted to move my little wing to the above my shape.
Okay, so let me go ahead and share your screen and I'll show you a good way to figure that out. All right.
Okay, let me find it again. There.
Okay, so there's
my little wing there, but which one is it?
Yeah, so when you, exactly. So first of all, we know that the shapes that you're creating are going to be always on top, at the very top. So right now you've created two yellow things and a green thing. And as you can see, you have a yellow and two green things at the very top. So just the fact that you just created them shows you that those three have to be them, right? So go ahead and close the other group, like collapse the other group so it's a little bit less intimidating. Go into that little arrow and yeah, close that and then that one. So it looks like there are a few less. And then over here, just go ahead and either put the yellow underneath the two green ones or put the green ones above the yellow ones, because right now we don't know which is which. So you have, well, the yellow has to be underneath. The wing for sure has to be on top. So go and get the second. Another way to tell, okay, so another way to tell, go over to the right side of those two little green rectangles and click on the little round button. Okay, so that tells me that this is not one of those because I would be seeing the bounding box. So this must be something that you have in your other pages. So go click on the round button of the one right above. Huh. Do you have anything else selected? That's interesting. Oh yeah, see? Okay, so that rectangle that you have right now that's got that shape
On
is,
that side. Okay,
see on the side you have it there? So
right.
now, okay, so now go and click this little green wing that you made and let's see where it shows up. Oh,
Here's the original bird.
yeah, you put it in the bird group. So you must have tried to drag it down and left it in the bird. So go open that bird group again then. See how it shows up in the bird? So open the bird group. And when you were trying to drag it, you put it in there. It's the top little green thing in the bird group because nothing green.
This
So
is
take
this
it
one
out
here.
of there and drag it up above the yellow now. One more up.
When I try to do
No,
that, you get that.
No, you wait, no, wait. You need to go to the word, not to the level. Go to the, yeah, there. And now drag it up. And now don't let go until you see, keep going there, that blue line. Now let go.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Okay. And now it's not part of that group. So now you can click away and it won't be part of that group anymore.
Okay.
Good. So now you can see it.
Okay.
So
didn't see this. It's okay.
yeah, it was just hiding inside that little group because when you were dragging things around, you dropped it in the group. So that's why. So there you go.
Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. You're welcome. Looking good. I'm going to stop your sharing meanwhile. Anyone else? So Lisa, are you there? Can you share?
Yeah.
Not sharing again?
Yeah. So weird.
Huh. Yeah,
I just keep getting that little blue circle.
Wow, you've always been able to share.
I
just
know.
fine.
I know. I've never seen this. It's just like, just saying select a window or and it's not responding.
Huh, how interesting. I don't know what to say. If you can't share. So let's see, let's ask me again what the original question. Maybe I can talk you through it a little bit.
Okay, well, I'm looking at my 3 artboards because I deleted, I went back and I erased the other 2 that I added. And I have all of these like 3-dimensional grids coming from different directions that all kind of come, it's like 3D and it's like coming to like to like a point in like in a building.
Can you do, you know what? Can you do a little screenshot and upload it into the Padlet so I can see what you're seeing?
Oh yeah, I can try that.
Let me give you the Padlet link again. And maybe that'll help me get an idea of what's happening. So I've just posted in the chat the Padlet link again. And let's see if that's something that will at least let me see what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I'll work on that.
All right. Let me know when it's there. Meanwhile, any other questions or things people want to ask or say or? How's it going over there? Wow, so much silence. You're all busy at work.
It's interesting, Diana. I waited long enough and it did now. I think this is a Zoom thing because I have an error code that it's given me that it says screen share. Try again and it gives me, this time at least I got an error code to be able to research what that's about, but I'll try uploading the screenshot.
Okay. Well, while Lisa's trying to figure that out, let me share my screen again to show you how once you begin to have not when you begin to have the shapes, I actually am done with mine, so I can select them all and turn them into a group. But in case you're having the issue that Vera was having of what goes where, you could also create your group a little bit earlier. Let's say that, for example, I created a group with these top parts right there, right? Which is only a few of them. Say that I've already created a group with that, right? Then if you look up here, you'll see that I have a group, that I have other pieces. Now, in this case, group wasn't the most logical one because I hid all these other parts, but they're there. So you can also add to the group by, which is kind of what's happening here, by dragging this shape and dropping it into the group. She did that inadvertently, right? Because she didn't mean to put that piece in the group. But see, now I've put it in the group, and now I can, move it to its correct position, and I can grab this little belly and put it in the group again, and drag it in there. And then I can drag the little eyeball in the group. And then this is the wing that goes at the top of everything, and I drop it into the group. So now I have my group made again. So if you didn't grab all the pieces in time, so to say, then I put them in the group just by dragging them in here as layers into the group. And now when I try to grab this bird, it is one whole little bit and piece, which is, let me call this one Diana's bird. And this one is original bird. Okay, and if I look at the parts and pieces, and there's a little group inside of this group. So these two pieces were a group inside. You can have a group inside of a group. In this case, it's unnecessary. Sometimes it's important to, like if I were to want to move just these three head pieces at the same time, I could go to my group and just grab the three little head pieces, these 1, 2, and 3, which are these three, grab them from here and just make a little subgroup in here. So now I have my little group, so I can grab this and just move those three around until I find a better position for them, for example. So that would be like a little subgroup inside of my group, okay? But that implies using isolation mode, which I haven't really taught you yet, so I'm gonna get there a little bit later. I'd like to see some of your birds, how you're doing. Can you share with me something? All right, so Ali posted something. Distorting text. We're going to work more with distorting text, which is something that we haven't done in this class yet, but we'll get to it. Looking good. Is anyone willing to share me their birds? They don't need to be good.
I can share. And it's really not good at all. I'm just trying. I'm using the curvature tool mostly, and then I just got into a star.
Cool.
So it's really
that's great. And the reason I want to make sure that you understand that I don't want you to show me. That's why I'm trying. I don't want to keep showing mine because, hey, you guys, I'm the teacher here. I'm expecting birds that look kind of bird-like and that I will help you fix. All right. So please share your screen.
Okay. So is it sharing?
Not yet.
Okay. Hold on. Let me get back there. Okay. Ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
Let's see. All right. Oh, you've got, see, I said you're going to need help with that main shape. So yeah, this is great. I thought I said you'd need help with that.
Yeah.
So perfect. No, that's great. Thank you.
It's now funny. And I'm having a difficult time with this, getting this to be that angle rather than that angle. And then I'm really having a hard time here. I was using the curvature tool, but then I started using the what we were just working on with
no, this is absolutely perfect. You know what? You know why I think it's absolutely perfect? Because this is going to give us a chance to decide which tool is the best, right? Which one is better? And the curvature tool is awesome, but it is made to make curves. And these birds have some curves, but they're very geometric.
Yeah.
So maybe if you know how to handle the curvature tool really well, you can make it with the curvature tool, or you can consider using some more of what I taught you today, or maybe a combination. So first of all, that's the easiest one to fix is the wing right now, because the wing is pretty much correct, only in the opposite order, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So why don't you just select it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Just select it. There we go. And now what you can just do is you can just flip it. So to show you how to do a quick flip, there's tools for flipping and yada yada. But in fact, if you go up to the top to the properties panel, and you go up to the top where it's got all those numbers, path, transform, keep going down a little bit from all those numbers. And then no, at the top, the transform portion of it. So see how it says path and then it says transform?
Yep.
Go down to the point to transform. So I know, yeah. Now, of all those choices, the bottom right, so keep going now, right, no, yeah, there, you were there, yeah. Now, the one to the left, that flips it horizontal, so click on that, and boom.
Oh, wow.
Flipped horizontal, so there you go.
Right.
Now your wing is almost there, you can move that one. Why don't you move it out of the way to know that that one's ready, and let's keep it, like, put it up on top of maybe that yellow piece or something, because we're gonna need this space. And then grab the eyeball, which is fine, and move it out of the way too, so that we can focus on this little guy.
Okay.
All right. So now this shape, select it first, and let's see. I would say that in this case, we probably should start again.
Okay, that's
rather
fine.
than fix, because sometimes it's easier I mean, we could have worked on fixing that. Well, actually, you know what? Go ahead and undo. I think it's better to fix what you already tried.
Okay.
So here, let's see what's happening. Let's analyze it. What's happening is the tail should be sharp, and it's not.
Yep, exactly.
And then the back should be kind of straightish, not straight, but a clean curve.
Right.
So one of the problems that this is suffering from is the question that someone had, I believe, who had asked, oh, I think she had to leave already. Yeah, she said she had to leave. Remember that at the beginning, Megan posted something about wanting to straighten out the curves.
Yeah.
She said she had to leave early, and she's already left a short time ago. So hopefully she'll watch this in the recording. Let's go ahead and eliminate whatever is causing those extra curves on your back to start with. So go and select the direct selection tool to start with, which is the white one.
Yeah.
And now select your shape. Okay, so you see how you have some paths there that shouldn't be there. So let's go and get rid of them. So the easiest way to get rid of them at this point would be to, with that tool, you can select the anchor and then hit the delete key. So select the anchor. Yeah, and now hit the delete key. There you go, one less. Now select that one and hit the delete key.
Oh.
See how getting rid of anchors lightens up the line.
Oh,
now,
yeah,
now in this case, hold on, don't get too fast. Undo 2 times, because we don't want to get completely rid of the shape. Now in this case, that angle, that one that you have there, we discovered we do need, right? Because it's suddenly lost. So now go to the one on top and let's see if that one's a bit more expendable.
Which one? This one here?
No, that's the center point of your piece. The one right under that. Yeah, that one. Let's see. Delete it and let's see what happens to the shape. Okay, so that one was a bit more expendable, except for now both of these have turned into a straight line, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So let's go ahead and go with your go to select your curvature tool. If not, we need to bring that angle back. So bring your curvature tool and go ahead and click. I'd have to have the shape in front of me to see, because you don't want to add. Well, go ahead and add, click, yeah, click almost to the end of the tip of the head. Yeah, click to the very tip, go to the tip of the head and then click right there. A little bit lower so that it adds, yeah, there with the plus sign, there, click.
Oh,
There you
okay.
go. So you've almost got that curve. Okay, so leave it there. We're gonna have to fix that tip later, but move your mouse out. Move your mouse, hit the escape key now. Escape.
I'm hitting.
Okay, there you go. So now you've kind of left that line. Now let's do the following. Go ahead and go to the tail that should be sharp. And instead of having it be sharp, it's a double, it's a curve. So double click on that one so that it turns into a sharp. Just double click it.
Nope. I just,
Yeah, you have to not add one, but put right on top of it and double click really quick. There you
Okay.
go. You turned it into a sharp line. See? And now go to that last one there and maybe right on top of it and then double click. There you go. So at least you see how you've turned them into a sharp tail. Now
Yeah.
that middle one now is unnecessary. See, in the tail now I'm talking.
Yeah.
So now go and choose back the white selection tool.
oh, that
Yeah,
is.
go, it's okay.
A.
The white direct selection tool. And
Yep.
now select that little one, select it and delete it. The delete. Whoops. All right. So now I'm seeing a problem there. You have a couple of different shapes at the same. Yeah, you're having
Yeah, I
some
think that I had some things going on, right?
yeah, I can see you have a couple of different shapes that when you do that. So let's do you have a compound path going? No.
No, I didn't because I was trying to catch up.
Yeah, that's okay. So click again on that one.
Okay. On this one here.
Yeah, just on that one on its own. One more click. And now just drag it to the left so I can see what's happening. Because when we tried to delete it, it seems like it's on its own. But go ahead and hit delete again to see what happens. It seemed like it got rid of a ton. So you, so this shape is,
I don't know what I did.
go to your layers. Let me see before you do anything else. Go into your layers to see if we're talking about two purple shapes there. See under all the yellow and orange, you have two purple shapes. So that's the problem. We're trying to fix one, but the other one is.
Oh, I did the rectangle. I remember that now. I did the compound. I did the rectangle.
Yeah, so a compound path behaves, as you can see, a little bit differently. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a little bit harder to fix it. So let's just delete one and keep working. So turn the eyeballs off of both of those, not the rectangle. Above the other bird, you have two purple paths. Those are the two purple paths I'm talking about. So move up about, see, you have that purple path and that purple path. So those now are two paths trying to create the same bird. So click on one and let's keep working with just that one, or turn it off and click on the first one. Which one's the best one? If this had been one shape, see how I was helping you fix it? But since it's two shapes, I think it's getting too complicated. I think we need to just
scrap it.
Scrap, yeah, both of them, because when they turn into two shapes, it becomes harder to
so
operate. So go ahead and delete one of them, select with the, and then we're left with one. So go and turn on the one and let's see if we can adapt it or not. We probably shouldn't adapt from here. Yeah, go ahead and delete. Let's do this. I'm going to go find that bird. Let me go find that bird, which is, which one? Here it is. Okay, I'm going to copy this little bird onto my screen.
Okay.
Put it in mine so that I can see. And then I'm going to share my screen here. And let's just try to get that body. So I'm going to stop your share for a minute. And then you try to do, because it's not a simple, remember I said it'll probably be a bit harder to get these complicated body shapes.
Yeah.
So I got a very simple body shape from mine. So I kind of cheated. But I wasn't intending to cheat, but so here what we need to imitate is this shape. So I'm going to copy this shape and sorry, and then just, just drag it out. Oh, I'm doing the wrong shortcut. Drag it out. So this is the shape that we're trying to create. All right. So I'm going to put it up here and head over here and try to analyze it a little bit, right? And I'm wondering if having one big circle here and another one on top might give us the beginning of that shape, and then another one here, and then cut off the little pieces that are missing. Or if it's better, like you said, try to just create it out of the curvature tool. Now, I'm going to try it both ways.
Okay.
Because I think both ways are valid. And sometimes it's a combination of both. So I'm going to go with the curvature tool, right? To start with. And I'm going to try to imitate that. So I'm going to start with a sharp tip right there. And then I'm going to try to put a point right there and a point right there to make one long curve. So I'm going to try to imitate, put that point right there, which now, when I click over here, like right now, I'm not going to get the right angle. I'm going to have to fix it, but I'm clicking a point right there and then a point right there.
Got it.
Now, this point has to turn into a straight line. So I'm going to double click it. And then here, double click.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to single click over here and then close it up right there. Now I have more that I need to modify.
Yeah.
I'm going to double click that one there, but at least I've kind of began to have a base of the shape to modify the position of these. Remember, this tool doesn't let us modify.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to move over to the white selection tool. And now I can grab this here and make this a bigger belly. Right? So I'm kind of going for that kind of belly-ish of the bird. Right there, kind of.
That looks good.
And then here, I need to move this one a little bit higher and this one a little bit lower. You know, and then this tip maybe needs to move a little bit more over there. And I'm looking at this curve. Maybe this one has to be a little bit more. Anyway, so I'm just kind of modifying it a little bit, but that seems to be about the idea. The only thing is that this maybe needs to be a bit more curvy. Now here I've got a weird thing going on and that this shouldn't be, so there. So oh, this shouldn't be a curve. This should be straight. Anyway, that kind of seems to have worked, and it was a combination of the curvature tool and then the white selection tool to modifying with the little handles. So that's just a matter of practice, right? Later you can watch this recording and see kind of what I did, but notice that this whole curve is one big belly, and I can actually make this one a little bit better just by handling these little guys.
Yeah.
You know, and then when you have to go from curve to sharp angle with the curvature tool, you need to double click instead of single click to get those little sharp angles. And then you turn it back into a curve. Okay. So that's about here. I'm still not liking what's happening here in this curve. I feel like it's not as defined. Like this one here doesn't look like it's the same curve. I need to finish it more over here. Something like that. Anyway, it doesn't need to be, by the way, identical. We just said we needed to make something in the spirit of those birds, right? Yeah, it looks a little bit more like it. Okay, so that's with the curvature tool. Now, could we have done it with the stuff that we learned today about shapes? It's going to be a little bit harder, but we can get nearby and then modify the curves. So I'm going to start with maybe one oval that should be the big belly-ish.
And that's what I had originally started with. And then I was like, and then I did a rectangle over that, I think. Then
just to show that I'm going to get rid of it right now, I'm going to choose make another big oval that's kind of giving me that back right there. I'm going to give it a different color because I know this is one that I want to get rid of so that I can keep an eye on this. So that I can keep an eye on this shape. And I can see that it needs to be a little bit higher, kind of like I'm trying to imitate that shape. So maybe it needs to go a little bit lower. I don't know. I'm kind of getting that belly now. There. But I'm going to have so I'm going to select these two and use this guy to get rid of that. Okay.
I
So
did that.
now,
Yeah.
okay, so now I'm trying to start that shape, right?
Yeah.
So now we need to have another, yeah, that's good. So people, by the way, the class goes until 5:15, but I want you to keep working and to remember I'm helping Christian because she spoke, but if you guys have questions too, I don't need to do both versions, right? But maybe you're also learning from this, so that's fine. So now here, this would seem almost like it's the opposite, right? It's like it's a white circle, so to say, but I can't really make a white circle and join it to this one because it can't have two colors. So I'm going to have to make it be part of an orange thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make another, I'm going to make like with a pen tool, kind of a rectangle-ish shape here. So I'm going to go from here to here to about here and here. And I don't know, I'm testing this. And I've made a bit of a rectangle shape, right? So now I'm going to see if I can take this curve out of that shape. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
That's, I'm gonna see if I can do this. So this has to be a different color, the one that I get rid of or I can't see. Okay, so now that's I'm trying to imitate that tip there.
Yeah, I
here.
see that. Yeah.
So I see, and I touch this shape, but then it needs to end there. So I need to make it a little bit bigger. So I'm gonna just use these two to see if that works. And get rid of this. Whoops. Get rid of these two. Okay, so it's kind of working, right? And now I need to do that kind of thing here. So I'm gonna get a light colored one and try to make a circle, not a brush, that kind of cuts that out.
Yeah, looks good.
Kind of. Enough to then keep. Let's try that. And now I have to select all three. It's not the best, but let's see. Get rid of that. Whoops. Get rid of that. And then I have to join this at this point. And that's the part that was missing probably.
Yeah.
You left the two shirts and didn't join them. Okay, so now I'm left with my base shape. And I think I left a couple little broken pieces here. I need to get rid of. Okay, so this is my base shape. And now, like before, we need to start modifying it, right? So with my arrow keys, I go, okay, so that is not. Arrow. So this one here, I have two tips. I have this one and this one. So let me see if I get rid of that one. If I can imitate. No, because this is not a curvature tip. Okay. So that's not what I could eliminate. What if I eliminate instead the tipmost one? What'll happen there? So either way, this needs to be, one of these is a sharp one. It needs to stay. And then I'm going to get rid of this one. Okay. undo. So I guess I couldn't get rid of that one. So I'm gonna just move it around to give it a bigger belly. By the way, I noticed that I'm beginning to copy from here instead of from there, and I have to not forget that this is our sample because, you know, that one's already an imitation. So I'm going to move both of these over a bit. And then that gives me a better beginning point for that curve. Here I have a bunch, this tip definitely needs to come in. It's very sharp. Oh, I have two tips here. That's what's wrong. I only want one of these. So let me get rid of the other one. I have an extra, okay. I need to, there's an extra line here. If you, when these weird things start happening, I'm going to approach. See, I have like a little weird thing happening here. See that you can't. So whenever you're working with shapes, you need to be willing to, so you need to move this one back out.
Got it.
And that was what was in the way. So now maybe I can get rid of that one. Let's see. No. And how about this one? This is the one that shapes my whole circle. There you go. And then all three of these needed to come in because the whole thing was too tippy. Okay, so now I need to go back down. Okay.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So now I'm a little bit nearer. So as you can see, it's not, you know, of course, we're not creating our own shapes. We're creating shapes that were made. So when you're designing your own design, you get more of a choice of how you want things to look because it's your decision, right? Versus here, we're imitating someone else's look and design. Now, what I'm not liking is that when I delete these, it seems to be cutting my shape. So it's not letting me delete stuff. So something I did when I joined them has made it that when I get rid of one right now, it's not continuing the shape. And that's a problem because when I say delete, it ends up being just filled. Remember how when I talked about when the fill is not there, there's no path? That's what had been happening. And this only happened after I joined it. Before it wasn't a problem. So now it's not letting me delete the extra bits and pieces. And so when you have too many, the lines aren't clean. You get these little weird divots there. So I'm trying to figure out why is it doing that? If I get rid of it with my tool, will it allow me to get rid of it without? Yeah. Yeah, that's better. But I was getting rid of it, the white tool, it was breaking the line. With the curvature tool, it doesn't break the line. So now it's giving me a better curve. So looks like that might be something to learn. Let me see if I get rid of that one. See how as I'm getting rid of all of the superfluous ones, the lines are cleaning themselves up a bit.
Yeah.
And how about that one? Nope, that one I needed. How about that one there? I probably need that one too. Yeah. So those two I can't get rid of, but see, I just tested and then I go Control or Command Z and that helps the shape. So anyway, now that I'm a little bit, now that I've gotten rid of all those little extra ones, it's becoming a bit easier. Let me try there. Nope. Sometimes you just need to approach to see which are the right ones to delete. There you go. So now we're much more, this is looking much more like it should look. Okay, so I want to stop because I do want to help others, but this we have seen that both ways worked, but this one was much harder, right? Than creating it from scratch. Anyway, both kind of worked.
For the beak, I've just, the last question, for the beak, I did a star and I was just going to cut that out using the, using what we were.
No. Go to
No?
the pen tool and ding, ding, ding.
Okay, easy. Okay.
That's all you need to do. The
Got
pen
it.
tool is great for straight lines.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, don't bother. Yes, you can do a star and then take all the tips and get up with a triangle, but
Yeah.
you can make your own. So yeah. So what she was talking about, you guys, was the fact that when you make a star, if you go ahead and minus, 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 you end up with a triangle, but then you still have to adapt it because this triangle is an isosceles, which isn't like that one. So you might as well start by
using the pen tool.
Using the pen tool, right?
Okay.
And yeah, so yeah.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
Thank you.
Anyone else, you guys? I'm gonna see if anyone's been posting their birdies. Oh, look at that. Oh, Holly. That's so cute. You get your little tail. Oh, by the way, okay, Ali, you posted the AI file right there, which as fine as it is for us to see it, I actually can't. Oh, Lisa, I see what you've got going there. Okay, give me a mech. Oh, my son, look how cute. Okay, you guys are doing great. But let me first say, if you can, you need to post a screenshot, because when you post the actual Illustrator file, which is what you dragged in here, or then when I try to see it and I click on it, I can't see it. It makes me download it. And I have to download it into my computer. And that's fine, I can do that, but that's the best way to share viruses, is to tell people to download files from computers that are not your own. I'm not saying, I don't know if you have a virus or not, but I'd rather not be downloading files each time I want to see a file. If you do a screenshot and post a screenshot, then I can open it and see it. For example, Mason here posted a screenshot, so I can just open it and see it big and not have to watch the whole, download the whole file and open up Illustrator. Okay. Plus, when I'm on my phone, I can see what you guys post, because I don't have Illustrator on my phone. I can't see them when you post the whole file. But anyway, other than that, I can see that it's pretty cool. Let's see, Mason. Nice. You managed to do a really good job with that tail and that straight back and the curve and the offbeat wing. I said this before in the Photoshop class, but I want to say it again, that I am very impressed that people who a session ago were like asking the most basic questions because everything was confusing for them. It was at the beginning, and here you are, it's just your second session, and look at that, with no help, boom, you created your little bird, right? And same with Photoshop, you're beginning to know all the answers. Before I watch other people's birds, I want to help Lisa, because Lisa was having that problem, that perspective, that's the stuff that she was talking about that was so complicated that she didn't know how to explain. So are you still there, Lisa?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so first of all, the reason this happened to you and not to others is because instead of working in the essentials palette, you're working in the essentials classes. So you have a ton more tools. See over here how she has all these tools that we don't have. Now, this is one of the reasons they got rid of the essentials classic for beginners, because there are some tools there that are a mess. Now, what you need to do, and this is really hard to get out of, and this is when you create your shapes. Let me show you. I need to just show you because I can't imitate it. This is a tool to create perspectives that is very insidious and hard to get rid of. So yeah, it is very, very. So let me change to the essentials classic so that I have your same tools. And then here under the basic shape tools, is it there that it shows up? No, it's not the flared tool. Is it? No, it's not the flared tool. That's also another hard one to get rid of. Hold on. It's where do I find this one that you just found? That's a real mess. It's, oh, I think it's this one. Yeah, you clicked on that and rah, it's an absolute disaster. This is what she's seen on hers, right? And it's very hard to know how to get rid of and what to do. So see over here where you have that little X.
Yeah, I tried closing that.
If you select that and click on it, it goes away.
Oh,
but you need,
I didn't select it first. I just kept trying to close out the X.
Yeah, you have to like click on it, and it kind of selects and deletes. Yeah, it's very uncomfortable. Did that work now?
I'm trying to do it right now.
So just click on, just click on that little X with your, like, you need to put your finger right on top of it. If you're anywhere near it, it doesn't work. It's similar, it selects and all that. You need to put
Yeah, I
right,
have
the
it right
tip,
on top. It just
the
doesn't
tip of
delete.
your mouse. So look at my mouse.
Oh,
Over
so-
here, I'm showing like a little box. Over here, I'm showing a finger. So when I get to touch that X, I've got my mouse turns into that little hand. And then when I click on it, it disappears. So it takes some doing to get it. It's hard. It's hard. If you can't share your screen, otherwise I would put the mouse there for you. It's really a bizarre thing, and it's the only way to get rid of it. So like the tip, if right there, it's not going to work because under my arrow, I still have a box. I have to wait until you get that box goes away. There. Now when you click, it's going to work.
Yeah, I keep hovering it right on that X and I don't get the little hand.
Do you get the little box still? See how I have a little box underneath it?
So unfortunately, my iPad wasn't working, so I got to keep going back and forth, which has been problematic today for me.
So, yeah, if do you see a little, are you on a Mac or on a PC?
PC.
So then you should have it looking just like mine. Yeah. So when I hover over it, and I get close up, it begins showing me this little box underneath the arrow. See?
You mean that little black box?
That little black box, yeah. So you want to get rid of that. So you want to keep moving until you're right above. And when the tip of your mouse, which is hidden by that finger, like the tip of the fingertip holds that, like you don't want to see the box. That's what you don't want to see. If you're seeing the box, it's still not good enough. You need to move it a bit
Oh, am
more
I back in that? I was on the selection tool. I need to be back in that same original tool.
Oh yeah.
That's
yeah.
what okay. Yeah, that was.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, if you're selecting it with a selection tool, it's not going to work. You need to go back into that perspective tool and then hover over that.
That's it. That made all the
And then
difference.
it goes away. All right.
Yeah, oh
It's
my
a
God, that's
really,
it. Yeah.
it's a hard one. It's such a hard one to explain how to get rid of. All I could do was imitate it again because otherwise there's no way. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. I wasn't back in that tool. I was in the selection.
And
tool,
now
then
go up
selecting it.
here and switch to just essentials.
Right. Okay.
And then your life will be a little
Oh my
bit
God.
easier.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm sorry it took this long to look at the photo that you were sending me. So now I see it. So cool. All right, let's see what else you guys are coming up with. Okay, your bird and your practice shapes. All right, look at that bird. It's looking awesome. I can't even tell which one's the original. You did it so
if you zoom in, you can definitely tell. But I like my bird better.
Yeah, I don't know which one is the original. Which you
Well,
tell me.
the two on the below, I made my drawing and then I just practiced the copying. It's the upper right hand one is the original bird from the thing. But
all right, and then you made this guys. They look great. Yeah, I like your little angled. Yeah, I mean, the fact that they could go into that tree and look just like the rest, that's really good.
No, I mean, I made an original drawing and then I practiced the copy of my original.
Okay, perfect. So this is your drawing and then the copy.
Yeah, that's the copy of my drawing.
Perfect. And did you make this? How did you make this shape?
So I practiced with the joining and subtracting of the shapes with the shape builder. And then I went in and I zoomed in on certain anchor points to manipulate them to get the, angle that I wanted. And at one point I actually I had like a little sliver of a circle left, and I actually used the eraser tool to get rid of that, which is probably not.
No, that's fine. You can.
It was like oh, what do I do? So I did that, like to get to snip off.
Yeah. So let me explain what she's talking about, so everyone understands. There's ways of getting rid. You know how when I was creating this with, when I was creating this one here, I ended up with like a weird little sliver here.
Right.
When you join things and whatever, I went with my selection tool, selected it and deleted it. But say that this was a weird little sliver left over, right? If this is a little weird sliver left over, like you can select it and delete it, which is what I did. But there is a tool called the eraser tool, and it's this one right here. And you can select that tool and then just go over stuff and erase it as well. And it's not bad. I don't use the eraser tool a lot myself, but hey, it's perfectly fine. Now let me show you something else the eraser tool would do, which you might want to try. Let me make this a little bit bigger here. Say that you want to try the eraser tool on this shape. I don't recommend it, but it could work. You could go over here and try by hand to shape this shape a little bit. Now, I don't ever think, as you can see, that with the mouse, you can get anywhere near as good as you could with actual lines and shapes. So I don't normally explain that. But for sometimes there's one little divot that you need to do that you could do that. And then what the eraser tool is always going to give you more paths maybe than you need, but it might help you begin that thing. So maybe here if we were stuck with this, we could say, well, what if I just do this to it? And then with what's left, I manipulate the things, right? So it's not a bad idea to use it in those situations where you're just trying and you can't get the shape. Then say that I had to make a little indentation here, then I can just do that, get rid of it, and then clean up the lines, right? So anyway, I'm going to undo that. So yeah, no, use whatever you know and whatever you have. It's all valid. All right, let's head back to the Illustrator here. And Vera, awesome. Here's your little bird. Let's pull it up. There you go.
I completely missed the boat. I was supposed to copy the original and I'm not.
No, you were not supposed to copy the original. I said, try to copy the original or make your own bird. I totally said, or make your own bird. The only thing that makes it look quite different is the fact that you have strokes on yours. And so you have like your shapes are separated by strokes. If you were to have made the same shapes, but instead of giving them strokes, the yellow belly was one color and this was another belly, it would look pretty much like it would match. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So it's just the elements that you used make it look more different actually than the shapes. The shapes don't look that different at all. If you copy this, paste it next to it, and then take the strokes out and then select this shape and give it a different color tail than the body, or like you did, with this, and select the shape and give it a different color. I swear to you, it'll match those much more.
Would I be able to take the strokes out with the eraser?
No. So go select your shape. Can you share your screen with me if you want? Class is officially over, so if you need to leave. But do you want to share your screen? Or if not, I'll share mine. If your shape has a stroke, so say that my shape has a stroke. Let me give it a stroke, a black stroke like yours, right? So there my shape has a stroke now. Oh, actually, I've got my erase thing on.
You have to allow me to share.
Oh,
go ahead.
Aren't I sharing?
You're sharing yours.
Yeah. So hold on. I'm just going to show you first. And then you can share yours. So now this shape has a stroke. I don't need to erase the stroke. I go over to stroke and I say, no stroke.
Take it off. That's right.
And just take it off and then the stroke is gone. So if you want to share your screen, I'm happy to do that, but I just wanted to show you that. So go ahead and share your screen. All right. I'm sorry, Lisa, you didn't get to work on your stroke because of that big old perspective tool. But yeah, go ahead and post it on your way. All right. So let's go to Verizon. There's your tab.
Where's my tab?
One to the right. It's okay. You had it there. You were next to right there. Okay. So now go ahead and you have to select your shape first. Okay. You're in your pen tool. So you have to go select your selection tool first. Go to your V or selection tool. You're in your eraser tool now. So no, go all the way up. Yeah, perfect. Now go down to your shape. And yeah, we're only seeing, go ahead and hold down your space bar so that you can scooch things over a bit. Hold down or move that open, yeah.
I'm still learning to navigate.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Right.
Okay, so wait, do this. Don't get rid of this one because this is great. Select the whole thing like a big old selection. Cool. And now put your mouse on your Option or Alt key and then put your mouse over the belly of the bird or something. And now drag up so that you make a copy up on top, because I don't want you to lose that which you made, which is awesome. Move it a little bit over to the right a bit so that now they're separate from each other. Yeah, there you go. You distorted it a little bit because you didn't move it with the shift key. So maybe pull the bottom up again, because now instead of a big belly circle, it's kind of like an oval. Okay. There you go. So that's a bit more like the one you made. Okay. And now come back to this bottom one, select everything, because you can take the stroke off on all of them at once, and then go over to where it says stroke. Click on that guy and take it off. Go to that little first choice, which is like a line on it. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Now you took the stroke off. Now click away. And now individually, okay, now you can go in and maybe give alternate yellows or alternate greens to a couple different parts, just so that it looks like the beak, you can make it a different color, or the legs, you can make it a different color, and then it'll imitate. No, but you have them in a group right now. So actually, because you have them in a group, I didn't finish teaching this. I'll teach it next week. If you want to work only with a star and you choose a star, because it's grouped, the whole thing is going to change. So go to the layers. And then go and choose the little star shape with that little bubble yellow.
Did I click the
yeah, click that little thing. Yeah.
So
and that, but that's your, no, that's your top bird. See? So we need to find that star on your bottom bird. See how the star that got selected is the top one, the one with a stroke?
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so we need to close that and find this. So let me tell you a trick to how to find this star, because we can't see it really well over there. Go to the start of the bottom bird beak, go straight to the little star and just double click, and then double click again. And I'm going to teach this next week. Double click again, and there you go. You've isolated it. Cool. So now go over to properties and change its color to orange, red, whatever you want to change it to. Okay, cool.
And
So
then how do I get back?
now hit your now choose if you want to change the color of something else. So maybe you want to touch first, maybe change the color of the legs. So go, no, just go and select a leg or the tail. Don't change to go. Listen to what I'm saying. Go to your shape. Don't touch anything there. Go to your shape and then choose whatever else you want to change. Maybe the tail, maybe the legs, whatever you want. So double
See,
click.
I didn't group the legs. I should have.
It's okay. It's all right. So double click. Okay. Now hold down the shift key and select the other leg. Yeah, keep double clicking. Perfect. Now you've got both of them. And now go change their colors unless you want to. Oh, no, but you let go of your
or stroke.
Okay, well, change one at a time. Change one color at a time. I'll show you later how to deal with it. Next week, I'm going to teach more of the isolation mode so you'll understand more. So there you go. Click on that. One of the colors, and then go and select the other one and double click.
I see.
No, but you're not selecting it. You're touching it and then leaving. You need to go and select the other one. There we go. And now change its color. Okay. And then there you go. You can keep going like that.
I should have been grouping as I went, and I didn't do that. I did each leg.
Either grouping as you went, or you can do it now. You can go and grab both legs and group them now with their little feet and things like that. But see how now the vocabulary of the design of this is much more like the original ones than the other one. It was just a stroke that was changing it.
Okay.
Okay. Now your star, you might want to move it a little bit further in so that it looks like a beak, because now there's that little space left over that is giving that little space between the body of the bird and the star.
That poor star, I had trouble figuring out how to get it under the yellow. And I have it under the yellow here, but because it was stroked.
So double click on it. Double click on it. Next week, I'll explain what you're doing when you double click on it. And now just eat it. Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, here we go. And then to get it back, to get the rest of the bird back.
Just hit escape. There you go. Nope, but now you moved it. You moved the bird, and now your eyes are kind of bugging out because you moved the bird. So now, so go ahead and stop. Don't try to fix it. Do ahead and undo, because even the legs are off. So you basically need to undo what you just did. Command Z. There you go. So now you've got the right place. And now just double click just the star shape. Double click the star shape. There you go. And now just move the star over a little bit. just a tad. And you can do that. Yeah. And now click away, hit your escape key. And now this time, there you go. And now this time you haven't discombobulated the rest of the bird. So that's good.
Okay.
Cool. So that's great. Thanks for sharing. If you want to post this bird now to the Padlet, and everyone else, post your birds and practice and play around, make something else, make a different bird, make a second bird or a tree or leaves. Okay. And then I'll see you next week. Okay.
Thank you so much. Have a great one.
You're
See you next
welcome.
week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Sign in.